Hey Froggy friends, Kirostyle here, welcome back to Umineko When They Cry, Episode 4, Alliance of the Golden Witch. Thank you so much for joining me here on stream, I really appreciate it. So, in the previous stream, we went into more of Ange and Maria's pasts, because Ange is thinking about her past, where she was reading Maria's diary, and in Maria's diary she talks about her past. It's almost like a flashback and a flashback. We saw Maria and her relationship with Rosa a little bit more. We also saw Maria and her stuffed lion toy, Sakataro, who got a human form from Beatrice. And then for Ange, we saw her days in the academy and how she summoned the 7 stakes of purgatory, befriended them, and then when she started getting bullied by her classmates, she started denying them, which destroyed them. In the present day, Ange is still on the run from her aunt Kasumi, and she's staying at a hotel, and she managed to resummon the 7 stakes of purgatory along with Maria and Sakataro in order to, I guess, reignite her ability to use magic, so to speak. So, at the very end of the previous stream that we ended off with, Ange denied the existence of the 7 stakes and Maria and Sakataro, and then we saw like a brief glimpse of Maria 9 years old, and Ange, 6 years old, which was viewed in first person, of Ange basically telling Maria that Sakataro was not real, he's just a stuffed animal that she's pretending to play as, which broke Maria's heart. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because it's important for this next scene, which directly follows that. So, we're gonna get going. Thank you so much for coming by the stream, Sai, and Comfy Dreams, good to see you. I really appreciate it. And so today's episode is, we're kind of like almost the middle point of this episode, which is kind of weird because it doesn't feel like that much has happened. A lot of it is exposition and backstory, but I do recall there's a couple sad and kind of disturbing scenes in this upcoming section. I mean, disturbing as far as Umineko goes, I think we've already seen a lot of that stuff, so it's nothing new, but just thought I would mention it. But get your tissues ready, there's going to be some sad stuff too. Okay, let's get going. So this is Maria's room. Uyu, Maria, answer me. Uyu, so I really am a stuffed animal? I'm made of cloth and cotton, so there's no way I can talk. So I can't talk to Maria. Sakataro looked at Maria sadly. Maria's face was covered with tears, and it looked as though it had even lost traces of sadness. I hear you, Sakataro. You aren't a stuffed animal made of cloth and cotton. You are my friend. I hate Ange. You. Sorry, Maria. Sorry, Maria. You. Sakataro regretted doing that. By freezing her heart, Maria had finally been able to escape from her sadness. By speaking up and calling her back, he'd caused her to be overwhelmed with sadness again. Sakataro tried hugging Maria, letting go of her, and gazing at her uneasily, lost as to how he could bring Maria's spirits up. He might have looked a little humorous doing that. In the end, that was enough to distract Maria from her sadness. Sorry. I'm forgetting which voices I use for them. Sorry, crying won't help anything anymore. You got in a fight with Ange, but you still have lots of friends, Maria. I'm not the only one. Everyone's here. Sakusuke and Sakukichi, the animal band, and many, many more. Maria looked at the many stuffed animals around her pillow, which were gathered together as though they were having an idle chat. Everyone is worried about you, Maria. They're all talking over and over about how to cheer you up, okay? Everyone won't go away like Ange. They won't. We'll always be together. Really? All of you are only with me at home. We can't go out together when Mama's around, and we can't go to school. You aren't supposed to take us to school, so you'll get in trouble if the teacher finds out. But if no one finds out, we could be together at any time. Sakataro, you're big, so you'll be found. Then you can take one of the kids that are small enough to walk around with. For example, what about them? If you take the friends in the forest band... Look, they're small, so you can hide them in your pocket and go to school together. There's a lot of them in the band. I can't fit them all in my pocket. She collected all the forest band pieces that were scattered around her bed. There were about as many of them as pieces in a chess set, so it'd probably be impossible to fit them all in her pocket. In that case, you could just take friends that you're especially close with. You could take the 4 rabbits, your best friends in the forest band. I could fit 4 in my pockets. Yeah, this way they won't be found. Now you won't be alone even at school, Maria. Those kids will be with you even where I can't go. Yeah, maybe I won't be lonely that way. Maybe I can hold out until coming home from school. As long as we aren't found by the teacher and Mama, we could be with you at any time. So let's be together, play together forever. We definitely won't leave you all alone, Maria. Do you? Maria's expression finally regained a little of its brightness. That's right. In the beginning, Maria's world didn't have Ange in it. Even without Ange, it was fun with everyone. And yet, strangely enough, it suddenly became sad without Ange, who would come in at the end. And all that's happened is that I've returned to the world right before Ange entered it. So there's nothing to be sad about. Yeah, I'm not lonely. Sakataro and the others are with me. Do you? I love you, Maria. I won't let any more humans come into my world. Mariage Sorcière is an alliance between me and Beatrice only. From the start, even Beatrice didn't want to let Ange join. It's alright this way. Ange was still too young. For now, until you can be friends with Ange again, I think it's okay to forget about it. You can play together once you've regained your high spirits, Maria. Until then, all of us will be by your side. Thank you, Sakataro, everyone. Then, Maria once again regained her former world. She regained the world that wasn't lonely, where she was surrounded by many friends. Just like usual, she didn't have any human friends at school, but her magic friends were always with her. The rabbit band she hid in her pockets talked with her during class, sounding like they were having fun. Just listening to that greatly embellished the time she spent in class. Maria made it so that as long as Mama and the teacher didn't find out, her other friends could always be with her. When Mama told Maria to go play outside, Maria would secretly pack Sakataro and Sakusuke and the rest of her bag and play together at the library or somewhere. Even when Mama was late coming home and Maria went shopping for dinner, she always went with Sakataro. The man at the convenience store and the other people were nice to Sakataro. He sometimes gave a second portion free for Maria and Sakataro. When Mama found out, Maria would get in trouble for bringing Sakataro and the rest outside. When the teacher found out, Maria would get in trouble for bringing toys to school. The toxin must be strong in Mama and the teacher. That's why Sakataro looks like a normal stuffed animal to them. After all, the convenience store man and the others say hello to Sakataro. Not all humans are hopeless. There are tons of people who, unlike Ange and Mama and teacher, can say hello to magic friends like I can. Oh, Maria-chan, welcome. Was your Mama late coming home tonight too? Yeah, but I got Sakataro, so I'm not lonely. Right, Sakataro? Do you? It's not just Sakataro today. Some other friends came too. Oh, other friends is it? What kind of friends did you bring today? Today the rabbits from the forest band are also with me. Look, in my pocket. Maria began to line up 4 ceramic rabbit dolls on the register. As the owner of the shop looked at it, smiling, he sent a signal to a part-timer with his chin. Then the sign on the other register that said closed was taken down and a voice called out for everyone to move over there. All the people in line behind Maria lined up behind that one. I see. You do have a lot of friends, Maria-chan. But I hope your mama comes home soon. Mama's busy with work again, so she's spending the night at the company. It's been very busy lately. She hasn't even been able to get much time to talk to me on the telephone. But I'm not lonely. I got Sakataro the rest, right? Are you? I've even got all the rabbits from the band. Look! Q. Is QQ the sound a rabbit makes? My, I've never heard that. After smiling at Sakataro, who was poking his head out of her knapsack, she played around with the rabbit band on the register, making them frolic around. Although the shop manager gazed at this pleasantly, he had a slightly pitying look on his face. This was apparently a single-mother household, where the mother had to work and couldn't come home very often. On top of that, it looked like this girl didn't even have any friends. As he watched her play around happily with her dolls and claimed that she wasn't lonely despite everything, he couldn't help but feel a kind of compassion. Aw, what a nice convenience store owner. And actually, this wasn't limited to him alone. Maria had become quite famous in the shopping district. Maria-chan, you should eat some oden every once in a while. If you don't eat your eggs and fish paste, you won't get big. Can't get a cream roll. Do you? If you don't eat certain things, you won't get big. How about oden for today? Then I'll have some oden. Yep, that's the ticket. Why don't I stick a whole bunch in there? Want mustard? Do you? I can't handle spicy things. I see. Then you make sure you don't let it spill on the way home. It'll sure be delicious while it's hot. Thank you. She had planned on getting some sweet pastries for dinner, but since oden had been recommended to her, she would be having that tonight instead. Letting someone else determine the menu makes for an unexpected and interesting meal. Very often, Maria had to decide what her dinner would be on her own, so it was easy for the menus to get a little one-sided. So it felt fun to have a meal she hadn't anticipated. Who are you? Thanks for giving us extra, mister. Send my regards to your other friends at home. No stuffing yourself on the way back. Go straight home and eat it there. Hey Hakaze, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks, mister. Maria raised the bag with the oden container high. Huh? Ew. What is it, Maria? The key isn't in my pocket. Standing in front of the door to her house, Maria searched all over her body. The key to the house wasn't there. She always methodically put it in the same pocket, so there was no way she had it put it in another pocket, but she searched her whole body just in case. Unsurprisingly, it wasn't there. Did you drop it when you took your wallet out? No. When I took my wallet out, I definitely felt it. I also felt it when I searched my pocket partway there. It was there until partway. I didn't drop it. Even though the late autumn wind had been bearable when Maria had been thinking of returning home, where the heater was, now that she was confused and lost her key, that wind tormented her. But no matter how hard she searched, she couldn't find her key. She turned out all her pockets, and even tried taking off her jacket and hitting it, but to no avail. Of course, she also turned the knapsack Sakataro was in upside down, but the key didn't come out. Something that should have been there wasn't where it was supposed to be. Why isn't the key there when I didn't do anything wrong? Why isn't it? Why? Maria was cold and frustrated and angry, and she stamped on the ground. The bottom of her foot throbbed, but that didn't seem to lessen her frustration. At the same time, her tears poured out. It wasn't her fault. So it was someone else's fault. But Maria didn't know who that someone was, and could do nothing but continue to let out a moan of anger. I'm sure you dropped it partway. Let's look for it, okay? Let's return on the road we came by and search, okay? Even though I went to all the trouble of buying oden and got eggs and stuff for free, I won't be able to eat it while it's hot. Maria, I know it's frustrating, but let's search, okay? It's no one's fault, so let's search. Maria finally lent an ear to Sakataro's words and began to trot back down the road she had come on. The wind was colder than before, and it felt like it was blowing in through the corners of her jacket in a mean way. Let's watch our feet closely and search, okay? Then let's get home quickly. Let the heater warm us up and eat oden, alright? I'm sure it'll be delicious. Gone. It's gone. As Sakataro encouraged her, Maria searched for the key. But she made it all the way back to the convenience store, where she bought the oden. She hadn't found it. Just in case, she asked the man at the convenience store whether they found a dropped key. But they hadn't found anything. One more time, she returned home, paying close attention to the area around her feet. But unsurprisingly, she didn't find it. She was no longer frustrated enough to stomp her feet, but hot tears dripped down her face. The oden had cooled down completely. Even though she had been told it would be delicious when warm, she hadn't been able to eat it. Even though that man had given her so much free stuff. Don't cry. Mama isn't coming back tonight. Let's do our best and search. Why can't I find it? Maria, don't cry. Let's do our best and search. Maria. Maria was no longer able to hold back her tears. Sobbing, she clutched Sakataro and held the bag of oden, returning once more down the road she had come by. Perhaps because more and more houses and stores had turned their lights off by now, it was even darker and harder to search than before. And once again, without finding the key, she returned to the convenience store. Maria-chan, still can't find your key? My key. It's gone. Wasn't your mother away for the night? So you can't get into your house without a key? Can't get in. Well, that's not good. Did you try going to the police? They might be able to help you. Mama said not to talk to policemen, even if they start talking to me. Oh? Well, why is that? It was probably because Rosa would be liable for making such a young girl like Maria watch over the house by herself, and because she knew that this wasn't something that would be permitted by society. So Maria was indoctrinated into changing the stores she bought things at so that she didn't catch the eyes of adults, and into saying no more than a greeting to a policeman even if they talked to her. Maria had obediently done as she was told. Instead of considering why she must do that, she was much more concerned with meekly obeying because her mother had told her so. The manager of the convenience store probably didn't think of it that way. In the first place, seeing such a young girl being forced to watch over the house alone, and so frequently, would make anyone worry. And then, after making the round trip between her home and the store once more and arriving at the convenience store for a third time, a policeman was there. Is that child? Maria-chan, did you find your key? Didn't find it. What's your name, miss? The policeman asked her name, but Maria didn't answer. Did your mother tell you not to talk to policemen? Huh. Don't worry, no need to be scared of me. Have you eaten dinner yet, miss? I bought some, but I couldn't get into my house, so I couldn't eat it. What's your mother doing? Is she not coming home tonight? Is it her work? Do you know how we can contact your mother at work? Maria hung her head limply. She didn't understand why the policeman was getting mad at her. No, he probably wasn't getting mad at her, but if this reached her mother's ears, then she would definitely be in trouble. Even if she didn't understand the reason why she would be in trouble, she at least understood that much. But the policeman wouldn't let Maria go, and her head was swimming from hunger. The policeman noticed that, and it was decided he'd listen to her story as they ate in the police box. Maria was taken to the police box. She had her oden heated in a microwave oven, and even salty rice cakes and hot tea were brought out for her. She'd been told not to talk to policemen, But after being asked about Sakataro, she responded, starting to feel that this wasn't a bad person. And anyway, she wouldn't be able to return home now, so she didn't know what to do. She told him Mama's work phone number, which she had been told to tell of no one and to use only in a very, very serious situation. In the tatami room, inside the police box, as she ate the oden that it was so hot it felt like it would burn her, she watched the policeman making the phone call, lazily thinking, I'm probably gonna get in trouble. Will Mama get mad at me? Ew. He must have been listening to the phone ringing for a very long time. With the receiver up to his ear, the policeman looked up at the clock, grumbling. Maybe they aren't picking up because their business hours are over. Huh? Hello? Hello? Is this Auntie Rosa Limited? This is the Komatsugawa Police Department police box in front of Senbunzakura Station. Is President, Udai-kan? No, wait, President Ushiomiya available? Yes? What? She's on vacation? Yes. Starting yesterday, the president has been on a 3-day vacation. Is there some business you have with her? Oh, no, never mind. So do you know where she might be? You haven't heard where to contact her, have you? Sure, could you hold for a second? Hey, anyone heard where the president went on her for her vacation? Or how to contact her? I heard she was going for an all-you-can-eat crabs in Sapporo with her boyfriend. I'm sure such a cold place would do wonders for shrinking the distance between them, don't you? I haven't heard how to contact them. Yep, understood. Hello? I hear she went to Sapporo, but I'm not sure about how to reach her. Should I take a message? I see. What a shame. Well then, if you manage to get in touch with her again, could you tell her that we called? Sure. Yes. After that, I was taken to the police department, which was even bigger, and ended up spending the night there. Then they asked me various things about myself. A lady who called herself the district welfare officer came by and asked a lot of things. And I was told, "You poor thing." When I heard that, I learned for the first time. Am I a poor thing? You? That's not true. You're happy, Maria. Then, Rosa came back. Maria was told to go to her room, but on her way back from the bathroom, she hid by the entrance to the living room and listened in on the exchange. The person who had come to visit was the female district welfare officer who had asked Maria various questions on that other day. You can't be so pushy. Maria's heart is too innocent and delicate, so if there was an insensitive kid there, she could be hurt. Please stop your pointless meddling. But in that case, miss, if the child is so delicate, why leave her at home all alone? Shouldn't a mother be together with her child? I am together with her, as much as I should be. I don't need to take instructions for you for something like that. Oh really? She's very well known in this area. They say your daughter frequently goes out at night to buy things and eat. Everyone's worried and looking out for her. How do you know that was my child? There's gotta be plenty of children around this town, right? Don't just suddenly decide that it's my Maria. Kids sometimes walk around outside at night, right? How could you prove that they were all my child? It's well known around the shopping center that a girl holding a lion stuffed animal often stops by to eat dinner and buy things. Everyone treated Maria-chan with care out of concern for her. Sometimes people even escorted her home, thinking the night roads might be dangerous, you see. You can find lion stuffed animals everywhere. It was none of their business escorting her home. Are they thinking of kidnapping Maria? Don't bother her. Maria's my child. I am raising her. I have no intention of putting her in some strange institution. Stop your needless meddling. Do you? Does that lion stuffed animal mean me? It's okay. I'm the one in trouble. It has nothing to do with you, Sakataro. Maria hugged Sakataro, continuing to watch her mother fearfully. I also wish I could be with Maria every day. But I'm a single mother, so I have to work. I may not look it, but I'm a president of a company, and I bear responsibility for my employees' well-being. I'm busy with my work all year round, so there's no time for me to rest. Really? But you've been on vacation these last 3 days, haven't you? I've not been on vacation. I stayed at my company all night working. There's a mountain of matters to be taken care of, and the other unreliable employees can't handle. How did Maria get back into the house? So did they just wait for Rosa to come back? Did she not realize that she spent the night at the police station? Why are you lying like that? Someone from your company said that you were taking a 3-day vacation, you see? You went to Hokkaido with your boyfriend, right? Leaving your daughter by herself for 3 whole days. I don't know anything about this boyfriend. I don't know anything about Hokkaido. Where are you getting this nonsense? Why? Why? Do you have any proof? What the hell? Don't just start butting in on someone else's family matters. I love Maria. I have my own way of loving her, so just keep your mouth shut. I didn't go on a vacation. I was just working the whole time. I was trying to finish things up at work with all my strength because I wanted to see Maria as soon as I could. I stayed at the company the whole time. I don't know anything about Hokkaido. Just don't go ahead and say something like that. Just get out. Get out. What's wrong with you? Get out. Get out! Rosa raged, her hair flying wildly. A teacup was knocked over from the force of her standing up. But far louder than that was the sound of her beating the table with both hands. When faced with this rage that could be accurately described as wide-eyed derangement, the district welfare officer couldn't help but be taken aback. And the same went for Maria, who was secretly watching this from the hallway. She had already seen her mother in a rage several times before this, but she had never seen her this crazed with anger. When she saw this, Maria was sure. This was no longer her mother. It was some other evil being that was possessing her mother's body. And then, she herself was discovered by the evil being. Maria knew that she was being reflected in the evil being's eyes. Her mind went blank and she felt as though her field of vision was racing off into the distance. After fiercely closing in on Maria, Rosa mercilessly slapped her on her small shoulders and dropped her gaze towards the stuffed animal Maria was holding, Sakataro. Maria, even though I told you so many times not to take that outside, you brought it with you, didn't you? Do you? It isn't Maria's fault. I told her to take me. That's not true. I brought Sakataro on my own because I was lonely. So Mama, it isn't Sakataro's fault. Do you, Maria? It's not Sakataro's fault. It's not Sakataro's fault. Instead of Maria, the brunt of Rosa's anger was aimed at the lion stuffed animal Maria was holding. The girl went shopping in the middle of the night, always clutching a lion stuffed animal. Because of that, she'd become well known in the shopping center. Didn't I tell you not to take stuffed animals with you? Why? Can't you listen to what Mama says? Why can't you follow Mama's rules? With every single word, she stamped her heel and banged furiously on the wall. Of course, she didn't make direct contact with Maria. However, the violence of the harsh sounds certainly beat against her. Miss, stop that! Oh right, you're still here. Let go! I said let go, damn it! The district welfare officer had come back to her senses and was pinning Rosa's arms behind her back. But the instant Rosa was touched, she went wild, fiercely throwing the welfare officer off. She hit the table and fell to the ground. A teacup on the table smashed on the floor, making a violent sound. Maria didn't do anything wrong. It's my fault, so don't scold Maria. I'm the one who brought Sakataro. It's not Sakataro's fault. It's not Sakataro's fault, so don't look at Sakataro with those scary eyes. Don't look at him. Don't scold Maria. Don't scold Maria. Do you? You. What were you doing just now and a minute ago too? Do you also play with dolls like that outside? Do you do it in front of people in the store? So that's why they remember you. Die, you brainless moron. Why are you such a dumbass? Answer me honestly. When you were out, you always walked around with a stuffed animal without telling Mama, right? Who are you? Stop using that weird stuffed animal talk. Speak with your own words, not a stuffed animals. Sakataro isn't a stuffed animal. He's my friend. Don't call him a stuffed animal. Don't. Yeah, I get it. It was called Sakataro, was it? You took him with you all the time when you went shopping without telling Mama, right? Yeah. Maria admitted it honestly. If she hadn't admitted it, then Sakataro would have said something to take the blame. So by admitting it right away, she was protecting her small friend. Only Sakataro? Any others? You haven't been bringing weird things to school too, have you? Miss, surely your daughter has done nothing wrong. Stop this interrogation at once. You, stay quiet. I'm talking to my daughter, aren't I? Come on, Maria, look at Mama when you talk. What's the answer to Mama's question? It wasn't just Sakataro. All the rabbits were with me too. Do you have them with you now? Maria fished around in her pockets, pulling out 4 ceramic rabbits with her tiny hand. The rabbits were her close friends, who could be together with her at school in Sakataro's place. When Rosa saw that, she shook her head slightly as though dizzy. On a school notice, it had been written that Maria was apparently bringing toys to school and playing with them, and her family was instructed to try and prevent this. But Rosa rejected that, blaming the teacher and phoning in a protest of her own to the school, saying that there was no way her child would bring toys to school. For nearly an hour, she had shouted at the vice principal to stop making false accusations about her daughter. To a certain degree, those at the school had grasped that Maria was a pitiful girl. They knew that the small toys she brought in were her only friends, so they had done their best to overlook it. When the other students caught sight of them, some of the boys had started complaining that only she could bring toys, and the school had racked their brains on how to cope with this. They had tried to gently send a warning by way of the mother, but after Rosa's overreaction, even Maria's teacher decided to overlook it. But now Rosa knew. She had been the one who was wrong, and her daughter really had been bringing toys to school. And those at the school had known that she was a disgrace who brought toys to school and played with them as though they were her only friends. To Rosa, who thought her daughter was just a little different from normal children, having this peculiar side of her daughter exposed and found fault with was, more than anything, something she couldn't bear. So she howled. She raged. The district welfare officer tried to cut between Rosa and Maria again, but she only met with Rosa's wrath once more. Hey Lork, welcome to the stream. Welcome. You came at a great time. Rosa once again threw the woman off with a face like a demon. And when that failed to curb her anger, she stomped on the ground over and over again so forcefully that it seemed she might break through the floor. Then after seeming to come back to her senses for a second, she immediately froze her harsh breathing and asked Maria, those rabbits in the band, are they your close friends? I see. Isn't it great they have a full 4 friends? She said that Rosa grabbed one of the rabbits from Maria's hand. Then she shoved it in front of Maria's eyes so she could see it very well. The cute rabbit holding a trumpet was a small doll like a chess piece. She slowly lifted it into the air. Of course, Maria's and Sakataro's eyes also followed it. And then with a speed that the eye couldn't follow, she smashed it against the wall. She had half imagined that this worst possible thing might happen, so she instantly realized what had been done. Yeah, so for those joining in on the stream, the reason why Rosa's so bad at Maria is because Maria's been going around taking toys to school and taking toys outside when she's shopping for food, and she plays with the toys and she talks with Sakataro, so the people around the neighborhood started recognizing her. And then one day Maria accidentally locked herself out of the house, and then she wandered around trying to find the key, and eventually the police took her in. And the police phoned Rosa to see where she was, because she'd been at work for the last 3 days not coming home. So they phoned Rosa at work to tell her that her daughter locked herself out, and they found out that from her work, Rosa had been on vacation for the last 3 days. So when Rosa came home, she was met with Maria and a child welfare officer, who's trying to tell her to be a better mother, and now she's taking all her anger out on Maria and her toys, because her toys is what's making her recognizable in the neighborhood and school as someone who has been ignored by her mother, I suppose. So Maria let out a short, despairing scream. It was in pieces. It had been small and sturdy, but that hadn't been enough to withstand her mother's fierce rage. Because you didn't listen to what Mama told you, I broke one of them. From now on, every time you disobey something Mama says, I'll break another one. Remember that. Miss, you think to call yourself a mother after doing something like that? You think you could do something like that and not hurt your daughter? Hurt Maria? I'm also hurting, right? Who is gonna take responsibility for my wounds? Well, who is? Didn't I tell you to shut up? Stop it, Mama. It's my fault. Don't get mad at this lady. It isn't Maria's fault. It's mine. Don't get mad at Maria. Yeah, the welfare officer is still here. I think in the anime, the welfare officer Rosa shoves the welfare officer out the door and then locks the door behind her, but in this scene, in the visual novel, the welfare officer is still in the room, except Rosa like flung her onto a table or something like that. Didn't I tell you to stop playing with stuffed animals like that? In the first place, it's disgusting you say a stuffed animal's your friend. Just how old are you? How old? Well? This is just a gross, crappy stuffed animal made of cloth and cotton, right? Isn't this the only kind of friends you have? If you have enough spare time to pretend this monstrous stuffed animal is your friend, go out and make some real human friends. Why can you never make friends? That's why your class always treats you like a weirdo and makes fun of you. Give it a rest and get a hold of yourself already. Grow up from this stuffed animal play. Who are you? Who are you? Like I said, stop playing with that stuffed animal. Ah! Mama! Mama! Give him back! Give Sakataro back! Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Mama grabbed hold of Sakataro's head and took him from me. Then she smashed him against the wall over and over. Who are you? It hurts. It hurts. 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 I said stop it, damn it. I told you to stop that stuffed animal act. It's because of this stuffed animal. That's why you can never make any friends. That's why you alone are pushed off to the side of your class and treated like a freak. I should never have given you a stuffed animal like this. I should never have given you such a disgusting stuffed animal. Stop it! Give Sakataro back! Give Sakataro back! What? Sakataro's my friend! My best friend! As long as Sakataro's there, I don't need anything else, so give him back! Give him back! For some reason, my frantic request just added oil to the fire of Mama's anger. Mama pushed my arm aside as I tried to grab Sakataro and snatch him back, and in a bizarre way, she stuck her fingernails on both hands deep into Sakataro, twisting him. The red muffler, which I'd carefully wrapped for him every day, came off and fell to the floor. Sakataro, who had been so precious to me, was twisted, smashed, torn out with fingernails so much he was twisted painfully, his face curving in sadness. Then Mama's fingernails found a stitch on the neck and tore it. With the fingernails of both hands, she tore it apart. In that instant, Sakataro's yellow cloth and the cotton inside burst apart. It looked almost like moist cotton candy. Ryu. Sakataro? Yeah. Sakataro! Ryu. Taro. Taro. The crumpled yellow cloth and the cotton candy flowing out was thrust right in front of my eyes. Then through Mama's face, the evil being stated it clearly. Sakataro is dead. Taro. Sakataro. Gitaro. Maria, do not cry. Beatrice. Sakataro was a good friend. As long as you do not forget that, he will always be with you. So do not cry. Bring him back to life! You can use a lot of magic, Bito. You can even bring Sakataro back to life, right? About that. Of course, if Sakataro had been my furniture, it would be easy. However, Sakataro is your furniture. That makes it difficult for me. If you say it's difficult, that means it isn't impossible, right? Bring him back to life! Bring him back to life with the endless magic! To tell the truth, Sakataro's vessel was a stuffed animal Rosa made herself, correct? That Rosa has denied Sakataro. A life that is not permitted by its own mother cannot exist. Beatrice's words were feeble, because she knew that no matter what the excuse, it wouldn't be enough to calm Maria and make her accept it. But she had to communicate the painful truth to her disciple and close friend. She had to tell her the fact that even with all her own power, even she could not revive Sakataro. As long as you continue to strongly believe in Sakataro's existence, that soul will not disappear. So Maria, please do not be sad. Even now, look, believe that Sakataro is smiling right over there. No! No. 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 You have to bring Sakataro back to life. No. No, no. Give it up. There's no magic to revive Sakataro. Despite that, you must strongly believe that Sakataro will continue to exist as your close friend. That power will become magic. That's not magic. That's not magic. You have to bring Sakataro back to life. You can't do it because Mama made him herself? Why did Mama make Sakataro? It was to give him to me as a present, right? It was to make him my friend, right? So why? Why did Mama make it herself and break it herself? Why did Mama give birth to it by herself and then try to break it herself? I don't understand. I don't understand. I hate Mama. Hate Mama. Can't stand it. Can't stand it. Too sad. Too sad. Want to smash Mama up like she did to Sakataro. Want to stick my fingernails in and tear her. Turn her into cloth and cotton. Can't stand it. I can't stand it. Beatrice. Sakataro. From the darkness behind Maria's back, two massive, jet black arms crept out, twisting around Maria as she sobbed in anger. Then massive fingernails stuck into Maria's chest and stomach. Maria could not see that, but Bito could. Anger and sadness without any place to go will tear you apart. Bito knew that. She could see that. Yes. In the end, those massive arms were Maria's own. Those fingernails slowly start to eat into her chest and stomach. With their immense size and strength, those arms could probably tear Maria into bits easily. But Maria herself couldn't notice. Drowning in a sea of her own tears, she couldn't notice that her own arms were trying to tear apart her own chest. I can't stand it. Can't stand it. If Sakataro can't be brought back to life no matter what, I want revenge. Want to make Mama meet the same end. Want her to meet the same end as Sakataro. Beatrice, teach me magic for that. Teach me magic to beat Mama. Is that truly how you feel? Kill Mama. I'll kill her. No, that isn't Mama. It's the bad witch possessing Mama. I'll kill the witch Mama. Ugh. Very well. I shall give you that power. For tearing you and your beautiful heart apart, for giving you that pain, it is fitting that your heartless mother be torn apart considerably. I shall teach it to you. I shall teach you of the abyss in the world of witches, of the depths where no light reaches. Sakataro? I hate everyone. I hate Mama too, Ange too. I hate everyone. Ugh. So, you might be wondering, why doesn't Maria have Sakataro in the present? Well, now we know why. The world 12 years later, October 1998. I planned on taking a nap, but the boat really was shaking bad. I gave up on sleeping and went up onto the deck. There I was welcomed by the shining sun and a strong sea breeze. Amakusa had been doing some stretches on the deck. He must have a lot of time on his hands, too. After all, it'll be several more hours before we reach Nijima. It would only have taken a couple dozen minutes by airplane, but there was a chance that Nijima Airport was under the Sumadera family's web. The harbor would probably be the same. For that reason, I had obtained a boat that would let me land, while avoiding the harbor, no questions asked. I bumped into a cheery boat captain, plied him generously, and he had decided to help me out, amused. Still gonna be a while. I just asked the captain, and it sounds like it'll take a full 2 hours more. Well, beggars can't be choosers. The weather sure is nice. Feels like I'll burn. Going to read on the deck? It'll damage your book. Amakusa apparently thought this because I was clutching Maria Onechan's diary under my arm. I'd been reading it half asleep, which is why I'd come back up, still clutching it. How's it going? Think you'll be able to find the truth of Rokonjima from Ria-san's diary? Who knows? No matter how much I investigate what happened on the island, it won't make for anything more than a theory. There's no truth written in the message bottle or One-chan's diary, just a fairy tale with a witch walking around. I'm stuck. Looks like you got nothing to look forward to except questioning those involved on Nijima. I imagine the witch hunters have showered them with questions over and over, so I'm pretty sure I won't find any new facts. Haha, so even though your hopes are that low, you're willing to spend a half-day trip on a boat to go to Nijima anyway. Talk about fickle. It's like a journey of self-satisfaction, so that I can say I investigated. I'm not so naive as to seriously think that the truth of 12 years ago will be revealed. And when you're done with your self-satisfaction trip, what will you do next? Who knows? I haven't thought about it. I'll go to Nijima, ask some people who are involved, then after going to Rokonjima in the end and leaving some flowers, my journey will be over. Several days had already passed since this journey began. After being told by Bernd Castell on the roof of that building to search for the truth of 12 years ago, I left on a journey like trying to grasp a cloud. At that time, I felt as though I'd experienced something mystical, and had the feeling that I might be able to grasp some kind of miracle at the end of this journey. But after several days passed, my excitement died down. On that day, when I stood on the roof of that skyscraper, my heart was completely cornered and dead. So I'd wanted from the bottom of my heart to be released from the cage of my body and rise into the sky. And I crossed the fence in order to die. Maybe experiencing the desire to die and actually stepping forwards, throwing my body down, caused some kind of mystical experience inside my head, making me think I had received a message from a witch. The excitement from my jump lessened over time, and the more I came back to my senses, the more this journey lost its meaning. But I didn't even consider suspending this journey just because of that. If I stopped this journey, it'll mean acknowledging that the message from that witch was an illusion. And I felt as though that meant throwing away the promise the witch made, and any chance that someone from my family might come back. So because it was hard to believe that those events were an illusion, I've continued on my journey. I don't seriously believe that this journey will change anything. It's even up to me when to end this journey. It's up to me to choose where the final destination is. In the end, this journey is only for my self-satisfaction. Self-satisfaction, huh? It sounds bad when you say it, but I think that's actually what life is all about. Oh? If that's the answer you've reached after hovering over the line between life and death in the mercenary business, that's probably pretty deep. Don't take it so lightly. What I'm trying to say is that the only one who can acknowledge you in this world is you yourself. Amakusa continued stretching as he spoke. in an irritatingly fresh way. Hearing it told to me as though from a teacher made me instinctively want to resist. What he was saying was extremely sensible. That may be true. People work hard when they want to be acknowledged by someone. In most cases, that someone is their parents. Children learn how to work hard because they want to be praised by their parents. Although that's why I never learned. Sorry, that's not how I meant it. What I'm trying to say is that there's nothing wrong with self-satisfaction. No matter who praises you, it's meaningless unless you can accept it. Turning it around, even if no one praises you, that doesn't matter as long as you can accept it. Self-satisfaction tends to contradict a desire to improve oneself, so we're usually taught that it's bad. Somehow your argument makes, or seems like, oh, this is the end. Self-satisfaction tends to contradict a desire to improve oneself, so we're usually taught that it's bad. Somehow your argument seems like a pretty fresh take on it, Amakusa. The anguish of the human world comes when you want someone to acknowledge you, but you don't know what it is you should be striving for. I had a time like that too. I wanted to be acknowledged by someone, but I didn't know what I wanted them to acknowledge about me. And since I didn't know what to strive for, how far I should go to be acknowledged, I did a lot of crazy things. And the answer you reached was self-satisfaction. It sounds bad, but that's how it is. Rich is the one who is content with what they are, they say. If I'm satisfied with my life, it doesn't matter what other people say. It's the same for your life, and for this journey. No one has any right to criticize you other than you yourself, Ange-san. You're the only one who determines the meaning and results of your journey. If it's been a meaningful journey for you, then that's more than enough. I always did take you for a flippant ladies' man, but you really do say weird things every once in a while. I'll bet you think saying stuff like that will make you popular. Of course not, of course not. That's not how I meant it at all. Looks like you want to be alone. I'll head over to see the boat captain. Please take it easy. Amakusa apparently decided I was in a bad mood, although I didn't feel that way myself. Or he might have finished a set of stretches and wanted to cool off in the shade. The sea winds were strong, but not enough to cool the rays of the sun. Amakusa disappeared. Only I remained. Self-satisfaction is life itself, huh? That's just boring. Life is nothing without greed. I noticed that Mammon had suddenly appeared, her abundant hair fluttering over by the prow of the ship. It's true that a life of greed would be fun. But unlike you, humans have a limited lifespan. If greed is eternal, that means a person will have desires even in the last moment before they die. Having desire means there's something that you want. Something you don't have, some way you aren't complete. I'm sure it's tough to die when you can't think of your life as being a full one, so I'm sure self-satisfaction is necessary. I see. Because of the existence of a lifespan, you have to compromise like that? All of my masters had very long lifespans, so I've never thought of it. I wonder if humans live for the purpose of becoming satisfied. If so, it's probably easiest to live without desires. I see. So that's why greed is one of the 7 deadly sins. Your praise honors me. Apparently that counted as a compliment in Mammon's eyes. She turned and gave a graceful bow. Ange-sama, do humans live so they can find satisfaction at the moment of their deaths? Wouldn't it be pretty tough if you felt you were lacking something when you died? If so, then humans only live so that they can meet a satisfying death. They live so they can have a better death. They live so that they can die. This kid's saying something pretty incredible. I see, as I'd expect from a demon stake. However, it might be the truth. Humans suffer because they aren't satisfied, and live only to find satisfaction. In other words, that might be the same as a desire to die satisfied. You can't counter that. People live in order to be satisfied, and they hope to die that way. So it's really painful when you don't know how to find that satisfaction. Just how can you find something like that, when a human's life? By being acknowledged, by hearing someone say, "You are happy." If it doesn't matter who acknowledges them, then I'll do it. Yeah, that's the problem. People don't know who needs to acknowledge them. So, searching for this person who can acknowledge them is the journey of their life? Huh. Sounds strange. Whether you're acknowledged or not, it supposedly doesn't change your circumstances. And yet, if you are acknowledged, you'll be satisfied, while if you aren't, then you won't. It's almost like the blue bird. Because you can't notice the blue bird, even though it's already in the cage, you have to go on a journey searching everywhere. What the heck? Human lives are sure stupid. That's right. Amakusa says something really good. Rich is the one who is content with what they are, was it? I don't know where that proverb came from, but it's deep. Basically, if you can't find enough satisfaction unless someone else acknowledges you, that's the same as not acknowledging yourself. The ultimate in self-fulfillment is acknowledging yourself. That's right, because if you can't know that you're fully satisfied, there's no need to be acknowledged by anyone. Just by taking notice of the small things, the human's foolish journey of life can be ended easily. You can spend the rest of your life playing and having a good time. A human's life is so ridiculous. Amon's choice of words was bad, but it sure was the truth. If most of a human's life is a journey with the hopes that someone will acknowledge them, so they can achieve a satisfied death, then when they realize that person doing the acknowledging isn't someone else but they themselves, that pointless journey can end. Humans who have ended that journey can probably spend the rest of their lives as they wish, with their heads held high. How noble, how praiseworthy would that be? You know, it seems Amakusa's on pretty bad terms with his parents. That makes sense. Any decent parents would want him to get the hell out of the trade he's in. Does that really matter though? As long as it's fun for the person in question. Exactly. That's what it comes down to in the end. Criticism informed by observations of other people doesn't matter. If your existence is firmly acknowledged by you yourself, that's enough. If you can live with the confidence in yourself, you'll surely be able to accept and be satisfied with any kind of lifestyle. I'm sure Amakusa will eventually eat a stray bullet on the battlefield and get seriously injured. He might even die. I don't think he'd view that as something unfair. I'm sure he'd cackle about how that's also part of life. What a great way to live. I could fall for the guy. Pitiful humans who can't acknowledge themselves, wander about searching for their whole lives without anything being accepted. They do nothing but grumble and die while still unsatisfied. How pitiful. Compared to people whose lives drag on without any purpose, Amakusa is more likely to eventually die by the roadside. But I think he's much more noble for living his life with his head held high. Aren't the winners in life those who achieve enlightenment? If they can do that even a little sooner, they'll be able to live that much more of their life effectively. With Mamon's words, I finally accepted a certain fact. In the past, I've called the girl an unusual, a little strange. However, that wasn't true. All she did was keep her head held high and finish that journey faster than anyone else. Maybe that's what made Maria One-chan so amazing. When she was at the age where she might or might not enter the first year of elementary school, she had already reached that point. For people like us looking at her life from the outside, it wasn't something we'd call blessed. But even though days like that were engraved in her diary, they always finished up by saying that it was a happy day. Even though the part about her mother that didn't love her daughter came and went, she believed that her mother loved her. The mother's love that didn't exist, she created herself, filling her world with love. Others might observe her as an unsatisfied, pitiful girl, but she herself acknowledged that she was satisfied. And so she was happy that way. It's easy to observe that as something pitiable and sad, but to her that was an outsider's opinion, so it didn't matter. Whether or not it was happy for her was the only important thing. It's just like how when people who live in the city point to the lifestyles of those in rural areas and mourn their inconvenience and feel sympathy for them, it's really none of their business. If those who live there are satisfied with what they have, that's more than enough. I finally noticed something. I noticed it just now. I did something horrible to Mirio-ne-chan, and to you all, and Sakataro as well on that day. Whether magic exists or not, that's not up to other people to decide. It's up to you yourself. Whether magic exists to Mirio-ne-chan is a problem for Mirio-ne-chan to decide, not me. And yet, when I was young on that day, I said it. By saying there was no way magic exists, I hurt her. The fact that magic doesn't exist in my eyes matters in my world, but denying it even in One-chan's world for that reason was totally misguided. Mariage Sorcière is the Witches' Alliance Maria One-chan created. I was invited into it and told to become a witch with them. Thinking it a new, interesting game, I went along with that for a while, but because of the cruelty of youth, I got tired of it halfway through. And I tore her pure heart apart with sharp words. At that time, we must have gotten into a huge fight. I forgot about it right away, but she couldn't forget about it. After all, to her, magic was a natural power that really existed, and she believed that she'd be able to share it with me. To Maria One-chan, magic is a power that can interpret the world as blessed. No, which can truly make everything blessed. She just wanted to share that with me too. The young me tore that feeling apart, so she closed herself up in a shell, assuming that she wouldn't be able to share her magic with anyone. If that's true, then Lady Maria's journey through life wasn't over after all. If she'd been able to accept herself, then there'd be no need to collapse just because you denied her Ange-sama. When One-chan was young, she still hadn't reached a philosophical viewpoint like Amakusa. Yeah, now I understand. That's why the Witches' Alliance called Mariage Sorcière was necessary. An alliance where each acknowledges that the other is a witch. That's right, I'm pretty sure that was the first article in the agreement of Mariage Sorcière. Witches of the Alliance would acknowledge each other and respect each other. That's the deepest and only meaning of the Witches' Alliance. Maria One-chan wanted to share with me the secret laws to make the world happy, called magic. But I was young, and she was too. I hurt her with innocent cruelty. On that day I said cruel things. To you all and Sakataro. I said there was no way you exist. How rude. We acknowledge that we exist ourselves. We're not like humans with their souls half asleep. I think, therefore I am. Whether you acknowledge or deny magic, the existence of magic, called the 7 stakes of purgatory, is a fact. As long as we acknowledge it ourselves, to borrow your words. It surely would be violence for another person like me to deny it. I'm sure that'd be like having your true mother yell, "I wish you had never been born." No, disappear. Even after being slammed by all those words, Maria One-chan's magic made her believe in her mother's love. Sakataro, her magic friend, always encouraged her. He kept saying that her mother loved her, that she was coming home late because of her work, and she would definitely bring back a present. Even after Maria learned that her mother's work wasn't really the cause, magic allowed her to continue believing. And by believing that her mother loved her, by acknowledging herself, she filled her world with love and peace and serenity, establishing it completely. What happened 12 years ago? What happened to my family? This was never a journey to search for that. And what kind of journey is it? It was a journey to apologize to Maria One-chan for what happened that day. I don't know why, but that's what I think. If I hadn't hurt her, the incident 12 years ago might not have occurred. That's what I think. I have no basis for it. I don't have a clue how hurting One-chan could be connected with that mysterious incident several years later. But for some reason I can't imagine that there's no connection. A witch caused that incident, and the culprit is the Golden Witch Beatrice. And Beatrice was part of Mariage Sorcière, Alliance of Witches. I horribly hurt the other witch of that alliance. I hurt her with the thought that magic doesn't exist. So several years later a crime caused by a witch occurred, and a 2-day period that couldn't be explained with anything but magic was thrust in my face thanks to the message bottle. There's no way I wasn't involved somehow. I don't get it. It could be coincidence or it could be fate. For some reason, I'm started thinking like that on this journey. And what's your basis for it? I have none. I just think it's true. Huh. The Japanese sure are interesting. Even when they're the victim, they feel as though they did something wrong and apologize for no reason. I could understand if you said, "I hate Beatrice for stealing my family" or something, but you really are weird feeling guilty for no reason and apologizing. Of course I hate Beatrice. I couldn't continue this journey without that feeling. But it's okay to choose yet another purpose for this journey. There's nothing wrong with adding on a goal of apologizing for past sins, in addition to getting revenge on a witch for what happened 12 years ago. I can at least go to Rokonjima, apologize for my reckless remarks, and offer flowers. No, there's something better than flowers, and I think that would be more fitting for One-chan. I stood up, not minding that the sea breeze scattered my hair and concentrated my mind. I lifted my palm up to the height of my head and imagined a vast space. Ange-sama. Be quiet. Come, arise. I am the witch apprentice, Ange Beatrice. I was excommunicated, but I was once a member of the same alliance, and you are the dearly missed furniture who played with me. Answer to my call. It was hard to tell in the middle of the day, but a faint blue light gathered around in the palm of my hand. Then, Sakataro's form was revived. It truly did bring back memories, that figure. His cute ears, his bright red muffler. It came off easily, so One-chan faithfully rewrapped it all the time, didn't she? Sakataro! Do you recognize us? Do you know who we are? Do you? Do you? Mammon? Ange? With a sleepy face as though waking up from a long slumber, Sakataro looked all around him as he spoke. It's been a long time, Sakataro. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've summoned you with my own power. Now I'm the only one who can summon you. Do you? Those words might have been a bit cruel. Sakataro's face clouded over. In the past, I denied you. Now that I've summoned you, it means I've accepted your existence. Are you sure? Is it really alright for me to be summoned into Ange's world? His eyes were a bit frightened. It was only natural. I, who had played with him like a friend before, had suddenly denied him and tried to burn him with a magic-resisting toxin. It was only natural that he was scared. I apologize for that day. To you too, Mammon, and to the rest of you. At some point, the rest of the Seven Sisters had gathered on the deck. No, they've always been there, always by my side. As long as I acknowledge that it's okay for them to be there, they'll always appear. You certainly do exist. Lucifer, and Leviathan, Satan, Belphegor, and Mammon, and Beelzebub, and Asmodeus, and Sakataro too. Yes, Satan, you truly do exist, thank you. Sounds very weird out of context there, Ange. Are you sure? You're the one challenging Beatrice-sama, Ange-sama. Is it okay for one in a position of denying witches to acknowledge us? As to whether magic exists or not in my world, sorry, but let me put that on hold. It's not like I myself acknowledge the existence of magic. Then, doesn't that contradict the fact that you're acknowledging us? It's because magic exists for people who believe. Even if I don't. If someone believes, then magic will exist in the human world. That fact won't change in the slightest whether I believe in magic or not. No, it mustn't change. That person just had to hold their head high up and believe in their own magic. I acknowledge that. So it wouldn't be strange at all for all of you to exist. Quite a play on words, but it's an interesting interpretation. What you're saying, Ange-sama, is probably a devil's proof. A devil's proof? Right? To prove the existence of demons, you just have to find one. But it's impossible to deny the existence of demons. And we're here. That means that whether Ange-sama believes in magic or not, our existence is unshakable. Hey, the magic-resisting toxin is disappearing from Ange. You're right. Even though you're in a position of denying magic, why? That's probably because I learned what it means to respect and acknowledge. Right now, I might be able to understand the depths of Marionette-chan's and Beatrice's magic. In the past, I didn't believe in things like magic. Thinking something like that couldn't exist, I acted like I was closing my eyes tightly and couldn't see anything. But now I'm different. I get the feeling I can look right at the thing called magic and close in on its true nature. How frustrating. It's truly rare to find a human so free of the magic-resisting toxin in this day and age. And she has such an uncommon genius for being a witch. That's right. If Ange-sama tried to become a witch right now, she could grow to be a great witch, maybe even at Beatrice-sama's level. Even so, she has acknowledged our existence and is our master. Most likely Ange-sama will be our final master. Let us think of this as our final service, and apply ourselves to the fullest. Bleh. But I just can't stand that Ange-sama still doesn't believe in magic herself. Ange-sama, please believe in magic too. It feels like a waste to finally have a master and have it not be a witch. Even though you can have outstanding talent that could make you one of the greatest witches, your goal is to attack witches. It's so frustrating. Well, even so, that's your life, the way you live. And in the world where you've decided that, there's nothing we can do to complain. Thanks for understanding me. Yeah, whether magic exists to me or not, that's up to me to decide. Regardless of whether magic actually does exist somewhere in the world or not. When I think about it, this world is so vast and yet so small. Billions of people live on that earth. But I probably won't meet even 10% or even 1% of those people. Even so, I will speak of a world. My world, which doesn't know even 1% of the world. I'm not qualified to deny the laws of a world I don't know. So just because magic doesn't exist in my world, I can't deny that magic exists in a world I don't know. That makes it a true devil's proof. No, maybe it's more like, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I could be confident in the world I know, so even if it's denied by a complete stranger who doesn't know a thing about my world, there's nothing to worry about. And in the same way, I've got no right to deny a world I don't know, just because I don't know about it. Therefore, regardless of whether there's magic in my world or not, I can't deny the magic Murione-chan taught me. Ew. After all, even if you've never seen it, magic exists. Yes, that's why, as I've already said, you friends of the Witches' Alliance, Marriage Sorcière, can't be denied by me or anyone else. I proclaim that the most important part again. Even though the sea breeze and the crashing of the waves was noisy, it was a time of silence. Both Sakataro and the Seven Sisters of Purgatory reflected upon my words. And probably, I did too. Does magic exist? Do witches exist? While ignoring what the answer would be for my own world, I acknowledged their existence. That contradiction was what I proclaimed so boldly. Thank you, Ange. If you'll acknowledge that much, can't you acknowledge witches too? No, that was a foolish question. You already have a clear answer to it. Sorry, though I do acknowledge that witches might exist somewhere in the world, but that doesn't shake my world. You won't acknowledge witches or magic. You'll definitely expose the truth of Rokujima. Right? Yeah, that's my world. Even if a real witch exists, I won't acknowledge it in my world. No matter how much that witch tries to convince me. Your position is to attack witches, Ange-sama. And I understand, well, that you don't have the slightest wavering in that feeling. We are your furniture, the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. We will always be by your side. We'll always be waiting for the day that we can be useful. Although since you don't believe in magic, we can never be anything more than people to talk to. That's enough for now. We've been left room to exist. For that alone, we should thank and acknowledge Ange-sama. In short, all of us are all together again. Ew. Yeah, Sakataro, let me squeeze you. When Sakataro was overcome with emotion and tears came to his eyes, the Seven Sisters closed in and mobbed him. They were also celebrating a long-missed reunion. If their existence is permitted, they're definitely capable of existing here. No, even if I don't permit it, they can exist. Because I acknowledge them, they showed their reunion's joy to me as well. As I watched over that scene, I reflected over what this journey of mine meant. I wonder if everyone will forgive me this way. You've done enough. We are furniture, just being summoned. Just being allowed to be by your side makes us happy. Ange, thank you very much. Come to think of it, why was I able to summon Sakataro? No, it's the other way around. Why wasn't One-chan able to summon Sakataro? One-chan had despaired, thinking Sakataro had died, which meant she hadn't been able to summon him like this anymore. In the past, One-chan said it was more advantageous in a summoning to have a vessel. However, a vessel is like training wheels, and it shouldn't be absolutely necessary. In other words, even if the stuffed animal lion that was Sakataro's vessel didn't exist, it should have been possible to summon him. No, when you put it like that, it's even a little doubtful whether summoned things can be limited by life and death. Moreover, Sakataro should have been an especially important friend to Mione-chan. She should have been able to strive hard to summon him once more. It certainly was sad that the original stuffed animal vessel had been torn apart. But why did he die and become impossible to summon again? That's because at that time Maria saw my stuffed animal torn and decided that I died. It's the same as the existence of magic. If Sakataro has died in Lady Maria's world, then he can't exist in her world. The shock of having her beloved stuffed animal torn apart had left a wound in her heart serious enough to prevent her from summoning her irreplaceable close friend. In Mione-chan's eyes, Sakataro died. So even if Sakataro can exist like this to me, he cannot exist before her. I was always with Maria. When Maria cried, I was always right beside her, telling her not to cry. But in my form, my voice, nothing of me will reach Maria now. Sakataro hung his head, looking sad. After that incident, the nature of marriage Sosier rapidly began to change. Before then, the alliance was a peaceful thing. But after that incident, it grew full of shadier things, focusing on how to curse people you hate. One-chan's diary began to show a clear change. The diary is a mirror that reflects one's heart as it is. It probably showed the personality Maria called Dai, and be reborn as the evil witch personality, Maria. When she buried that diary in hatred and sadness, her heart surely wasn't satisfied. Because it wasn't satisfied, she had to bury it with hatred and sadness. And while still unsatisfied, she met with death. I wonder if her unsatisfied soul has a hole opened in its chest from sadness even now, and continually wanders, dripping tears down and calling Sakataro's name. One-chan needs you. Do you? What can I do to revive you in Mione-chan's world? If I can learn that method, I'll be able to save One-chan. That's the method of atonement I've been given. What can be done to revive Sakataro? To Maria, my vessel had a very important meaning. The vessel. In other words, if we could revive the stuffed lion animal. But Mama Rosa made my stuffed animal herself, so only she could make it. Even inside the diary, Mione-chan had asked this of Beatrice and was refused for that reason. The magical significance of a stuffed animal being unique and homemade and handmade is very large. Then if we can make the same thing once more. But Aunt Rosa has already gone from this world. We can't make the same thing again. Was there ever another identical stuffed animal made or anything like that? He's a stuffed animal made to be Lady Maria's birthday present, and it's the only one of his kind in the world. A handmade and unique vessel. That's why it conceals a great magical power. And if lost, it cannot be obtained again. It won't revive. Because she knew that, Mione-chan watched that stuffed animal, which was unique in that world, get torn apart. And despaired. Because it was the only one of its kind in the world, and she couldn't permit a compromise such as buying another one, she had despaired from the bottom of her heart. Sakataro's right here. Even without a vessel, he's here. Because I acknowledge that, he certainly exists in my world. Even if Mione-chan doesn't acknowledge him, that cannot be denied. Right? Logically, that's true, but I think using the same logic to make Lady Maria accept him could be difficult. Maria, I'm not dead. I'm right here. Who are you? I'm sure that on Rokenjima, I'll be able to be reunited with Mione-chan. And no matter what, I'll revive the you that's inside One-chan and let you be reunited. Can you do it? It'll probably be hard. Just like how, after being invited into the Witches' Alliance, I rejected it without understanding what it meant. She might also reject your existence. But I've got to do it. That's the only way I can atone for my sins. And Sama. What's waiting on Rokunjima? And what will happen? What will be created? Or maybe nothing will happen. That island, which was the beginning of everything, is the final destination of this journey. You all are the furniture of a witch, so as your master, I have to take you home. To the Witch's Island. To Rokunjima. Even though the rays of the sun had been so strong, at some point clouds had started to hang down. The spray that hit my cheek might not have all come from crashing waves. Ange-san, looks like we're gonna get a bit of a shower. Maybe you better go below deck. Amakusa called out to me with an expression that said, "Oh, you're still here?" When I looked up, I saw that the island's silhouette had gotten much larger. We might reach land very soon. I remembered that the weather report had mentioned scattered rains. The sky wasn't dark enough for rain clouds. It'll probably be just for a short time. Even though the rain was light enough not to be a pain, having rain start to fall as we approached the island felt like some kind of fate. It was raining on October 4th, 1986 as well. I'm approaching the Rokunjima of that day, and not just in distance. I went back down with Amakusa. He was carrying what looked like a really large and heavy golf bag. It was something Amakusa had brought back with him on a day that we split up. I didn't inquire as to its contents, but it was hard to imagine there was anything peaceful. I won't go as far as to ask what's inside, but it looks heavy. Why are these things so darn heavy all the time? A French instructor taught me something interesting about that once. He said they should always be heavy. After all, human life is heavier than the whole world. So, these should be even heavier. Be nice if you didn't need to use them. That would be nice. Amakusa set the golf bag like luggage down beside him. So that whole scene, like Sakataro's death in the anime, I remember it being like really sad because it happened so suddenly, because they have to do it so quickly, right? Because the anime condenses everything. So like Rosa getting mad at Maria and then grabbing Sakataro and then ripping him in half happened so quickly. And I don't even think this conversation with Ange and the Seven Sisters and Sakataro on the ship ever takes place in the anime, because they had to cut it out. So I don't even remember if Sakataro even gets revived in the anime. I think he's just dead for the rest of the anime, because they end after episode 4. So it was a lot sadder, I feel, and you actually got to see him, like his stuffed lion form, get ripped in two. While here it was like we saw the blood splatter background. A 2-propeller aircraft touched down on the runway. Considering the weather, it couldn't have been a pleasant flight. Everything after this flight had been suspended due to weather. Cutting through the drizzle as she traversed the runway, Sumadera Kasumi entered the lobby with 2 black suits as guards. The 4 black suits who had been waiting inside the lobby stood up and respectfully lowered their heads in salute. Kasumi-san! Or Sama. Propeller planes certainly do shake. I wouldn't want to ride one again. We have a car prepared. Please, this way. They got into 2 luxury cars that had been rented. And should be headed for Rokunjima. A deserted island. How convenient. You've arranged for some tools, I take it? Yes, ma'am. The black suit in the passenger seat put a heavy bag that had been set by his feet onto his lap, opened the catch with a click, and showed Kasumi what was inside. Inside were several silvery lumps of carefully wrapped aluminum foil. He peeled one open to show her. A black, blunt automatic pistol peeked its face out. Tune in next time for Rosa is the best mode. There's another scene with Rosa that we're gonna get to this stream that will follow that event. That's why people often joke in the Umineko fandom, Rosa is the best mom, like ironically, because we know that she's awful. Even though we saw that cool scene of her in episode 2, and then now you see this and you're like, oh. The first day, October 4th, 1986. Finally, we're back onto Rokunjima. It was already approaching 10 o'clock at night. By now the typhoon had wrapped itself around Rokunjima. Even the rose garden that had looked so beautiful midday was beaten down upon by the fierce winds and resisted with all its might, undulating and trying to keep the flowers from blowing away. In that rose garden was Shannon in the lead, Badler holding up an umbrella, Jessica and George carrying the sleeping Maria on his back, all heading for the guest house. We can at least make it to the guest house from here. Shannon, it's fine. You should go back and rest. Don't worry, seeing you off is also part of my duty. The family conference is going on inside, and Mom and Genji-san are probably getting stressed. If we keep you, they'll misunderstand and think you're being lazy. That's right. Just graciously accept our offer might be the best way to avoid burdening people. Thank you, Shannon. Not at all. Certainly, as Milady has said, it is very tense inside the mansion today. Therefore, coming with all of you allowed me a breath of fresh air, and I've been able to relax a bit. Family conference, huh? They went to all the trouble of chasing us kids out, so they were probably talking about something shady. Probably. I'm sure there's nothing we could do to help out. Just trying to stay out of their way is probably the best way for us to be useful. Heh. I'm sure it's all just money, money, money. Even though they act like they're so rich most of the time, when it gets tough, they all get pushy. Why don't they just be graceful and split it evenly between everyone? That'd be awesome. It'd be nice if I got a share too. If I got some too, I'd split it with Shannon right away. Thank you very much. Well, I appreciate the sentiment. Shannon isn't greedy at all. Normally, girls of your age would have tons of things they'd want to buy. I guess, but none of the things I want can be bought with money. Oh, how unselfish. If you line up all the things I wanted, all the gold in the world wouldn't be enough. That's if you're talking about things that could be bought with money. I wonder what these things that can't be bought with money that Shannon wants are. Do you have any idea, George Nissan? Well, I wonder. I'm not Shannon, so how could I know? I don't know either. George and Shannon looked down, their faces red. Badler had also heard of what was going on with them, so he knew what Jessica was teasing them about. George Aniki is the person I respect. I think you've met up with a really great person, Shannon-chan. Yeah, I also feel relieved that we can leave Shannon to George Nissan. Stop teasing. It's a serious issue for us. More importantly, what about you, Jessica-chan? Have you been able to get a little closer to Canon-kun? What? So you and Canon-kun are like that? Well, that's dirty, George, twisting the conversation around. Like, that is dirty. As they had an animated discussion with ups and downs, the four kids headed for the guest house. The annual family conference was extremely important to the Ushimiya family, and this year seemed like it was going to be especially important. Apparently, the family head Kinzo was personally going to be making a very serious announcement, and everyone other than the adults had been strictly ordered to leave. Badler hadn't attended the family conference in 6 years, so he didn't really notice, but according to Jessica, there seemed to be a very tense atmosphere tonight, completely different from a normal year. Common sense made it clear that Kinzo, whose remaining life was short, was going to make some big announcement about the succession of the headship and the distribution of his fortune. But I'm surprised to think that Grandfather's actually going to make an appearance. I see. So this is the witch's counterattack. I wanted to leave the Joker called Kinzo face down a little longer, but it's probably about time to turn it over. Trump cards exist to be used. Damn. My theory that Grandfather was dead since the beginning, and a different 18th person had snuck in, is now suddenly torn apart. I'd foreseen that you'd begin to doubt Kinzo eventually. Yes, now your reasoning has all gone back to square one again, right? With this, your theory that Kinzo was dead at the very beginning, and I was hiding as the 18th person goes poof. Fuck. But no way I'll lose heart. That's only one theory gone. I'll attack you like a storm, like a tornado. I'll have it no other way. Even the first twilight has not yet begun. It is far too early to give up. That's right. And it's not like it was denied with the red truth. At this point in time, Badler's theory hasn't been defeated. It's too early to say you've won. Yeah, that's right. It's still too early for me to just swallow her story. Grandfather is supposed to finally appear, but there's a chance they'll talk about how his health has gotten worse and he won't appear after all. Uncle Kraus might be trying desperately to hide the fact that Grandfather really is dead until the last second. Huh. I see, you could also think of it that way. Do as you please. It will be resolved soon. Very soon. All the relatives and Nanjo could be seen in the dining hall. Nanjo sat alone, quietly watching the wind and rain outside. Kraus sat down in the seat of his own rank, with Natsui standing motionlessly at his side. The other siblings were gathered at the opposite end of the long table, whispering to each other. Is that true? Yes. Maria said the person who gave her the umbrella was Father. What in the world? In other words, our strategy has collapsed from the roots. Not just our strategy. Since Father is healthy and has said he'll make an announcement himself, our trivial bargaining with Nissan was completely pointless. Hey Aramon, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. Yep. That old bastard. Why couldn't he even just shown himself right away without making a show of it? Thanks to that, we've just been quarreling with Aniki uselessly. Or maybe he wanted to test us on that point. I might not be one to talk since we aren't related by blood, but your father is very intelligent, correct? Our arguments during the day were probably overheard by one of the servants and reported to Father. Incredible. The fact that we were making a fuss with Father's inheritance as our goal is now right in the open. Just incredible. Ava uncharacteristically held her head dejected. As if Kyrie said, everything had been going according to Kinzo's plans from the beginning, and if this was a huge setup that had been kept up for over a year, trying to find the siblings' true intentions, then they had fallen for it completely. We still don't know for sure that it's reached Father's ears. No, it definitely has. Everyone but Nissan claimed that Father was dead, and none of us believed in Father's good health. It's already over. Father will make an announcement. Nissan will become the successor, and he'll say we aren't even qualified to wear the one wing. Nissan, get a hold of yourself. Rosa-san, I wonder if Maria really received that umbrella from Father. Huh? What do you mean? Maria-chan might have seen Father, however we haven't seen him. Maria-chan only claims to have seen him. What are you saying? Are you saying Maria's lying? Calm down, Rosa. Maria-chan didn't necessarily lie. Still, she's an innocent kid, right? For example, if Genji-san came up to her and said something like, I was told by your grandfather to hand this to you, Maria-sama, then even if Maria-chan hadn't met Dad, she still might say she got an umbrella from him, right? That's right. That trick could work. What was it Maria-chan said? Grandfather came and handed me the umbrella. Yes, that's what she said. She clearly said she received an umbrella directly from Grandfather. Directly, huh? Then we're stuck. They often say that bad thinking is no better than sleeping. If you think about it a bit, all of this about the umbrella is a trivial problem. Why is that? Couldn't Maria-chan have been bribed by Nissan to lie and say something that made it seem like Father was in good health? There is no evidence that Father actually handed the umbrella to her. Regardless of who Maria-chan received the umbrella from, assuming she was even given an umbrella in the first place, Father will appear very soon. Once Father's in front of us, the problem with the umbrella will become completely trivial. In other words, this is not the time to gossip about the umbrella issue. What do you mean, this isn't the time? I see, I got it. This is probably what Kirie-san's saying. Father is supposed to come here very soon, but the chance still remains he'll get mad again and won't show up, right? I see. That's true. Maybe Nissan just said Father was going to appear at random in a desperate bid to buy time against their investigation. Father really is dead already, and Nissan is still lying and saying he's healthy. In short, if Father appears, then no schemes will be effective. There's no need to even think about that case. We're fish on the chopping board. We'd have no choice but to leave fate to the heavens and negotiate directly with Father. That means we'd have no choice but to let him clobber us with his fist, then prostrate ourselves and beg for money. But on the other hand, if Father doesn't appear, then our primary strategy isn't hampered in the least. I see. In short, no matter which way it goes, there's absolutely no need to get flustered now. That's it. If father shows up, we just have to carry out the normal family conference. If he doesn't, we just have to keep on investigating Kraus-san. We can't let him talk his way out of it, like if he says father's mood has suddenly gotten worse. It seems what we really should be trying to figure out is what scheme Nissan is going to try and trick us with. The way he just doesn't know how to give up is something I know better than anyone. They should just send someone to climb up the wall to Kinzo's study and see if he's there. Well, they did say that they would break down the door if he didn't come out by, like, the next morning or something like that. If father's well, we'll prostrate ourselves and beg for money. If it's a farce of Kraus-san's, then we'll continue our ugly sibling fight. It sounds like this year's family conference is going to be just wonderful. Yep, so bad thinking is no better than sleeping, huh? It's almost 22 o'clock. Should we press Aniki? Rudolph and the rest looked at Kraus. He was sitting down firmly and looked like he was awaiting Kinzo's arrival with an air of composure. They couldn't tell if he really was composed, or if he was scheming about how to tie together his lie. Here. Calm yourself. We won't get anywhere by making a fuss after all this. Let's leave it to Genji-san. It's almost 10 o'clock, isn't it? That was the time that had been set for tonight's family conference to open. And it was the time that Ushimiya family head needed to appear. Right then, they heard the sound of footsteps approaching from the hall. There were multiple sets. Natsui raised her head, relieved. But because of the sound of a knock, her expression was filled with disappointment, because Kinzo probably wouldn't have knocked. Please excuse us. I finished closing up the mansion for the night. It was Goda and Kumasawa. Unlike the powerful Goda, it was rare for Kumasawa, with her old body, to be forced to work this late. Of course, Kraus also seemed to know that. Indeed. Good work. My apologies for making you work at such a time, Kumasawa-san. Oh, it's nothing. I may not look it, but staying up late is still one of my specialties. Oh ho ho. Wouldn't it be okay to at least let Kumasawa-san leave without being an observer? It really will be difficult on her body, I imagine. The order was to gather all the servants as well. I cannot disobey. Tonight's family conference was clearly different from normal. In a normal year, no one was allowed to attend except family members. To have the servants present for such a thing was unthinkable. But this year was different. All the servants were told to attend. Of course, they were not allowed to talk. They were there as observers. Just what in the world was happening that needed to be observed by 5 servants? Even Kraus didn't know. Oh, I don't look it, but I'm good at staying up late. If you stuff yourself with mackerel too, Kraus-sama, you'll be more manly at night. What do you mean by that, Kumasawa-san? Haha, I see you're still in high spirits. I'm sure you'll be working in such high spirits until you're 100. Madam, forgive my arrogance, but I prepared a light snack. I can serve it any time, so feel free to order it. Thank you. You really are considerate. Please offer refills of coffee to the others. Certainly. After nodding, Goda took the pot towards the relatives gathered at the other end of the table. As he did, more footsteps approached from the hallway. It was a single set. And it was light. Even before the knock, they could imagine who it was. Excuse me. I've taken the children to the guest house. Good work. Tonight is a special evening. Make sure you stay alert. Yes. Certainly, madam. Genji had gone with Kanon to meet Kinzo. There was still no sign of their return. The hand of the clock passed 22 o'clock slightly. Once sure of that, Ava spoke to Kraus. Nissan, it's time. Are you still not going to start the family conference? The arrival of the guest of honor has been delayed. Wait a short while. How long? Sorry, but time's up. I won't have you saying father hasn't quite shown up yet over and over until dawn. How could I make a promise about the time father shows up? Why are you in such a rush? Why not drink some tea and calm down for now? Aniki, we're gathered here for a family conference, not a farce. We'll wait 30 more minutes, but if that doesn't work, you'll let us break into the study, okay? Break into? Such an action would be quite lacking in respect for the head. Oh right, our apologies. We'll be good for 30 more minutes. Huh. Hey Psycho Reaper, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the frogs. I look forward to seeing if you can keep that same smile up 30 minutes from now. So you honestly believe that Father's dead? I have no desire to discuss that now. We can wait until Father comes here. There's absolutely no need for me to argue you down, Nissan. The Ushimiya headship will be passed on to the proper person in a proper manner. No matter what you may scheme, you cannot resist. Of course, the same goes for me. What are you trying to say? And after bragging all these years about being the successor yourself, I'll turn your own words back on you. I have no desire to discuss that now. All that matters is for Father to come here and proclaim it with his own mouth. There's absolutely no need for me to argue you down. Right? Kraus casually turned Ava's words back on her. Of course, that added oil to Ava's anger. But it didn't ignite, because in that instant the sound of a very loud knock rang out. Both Genji and Kanon were usually very reserved when they knocked. They wouldn't hit the door with such a violent strength. It was like a judge's gavel slamming down in call for silence. So everyone went quiet. The door opened slightly and Genji showed himself. Then he spoke with a serious tone different from his usual one. It wasn't the tone he used when carrying out his duties. It was the tone he used when speaking for Kinzo himself. So just by hearing Genji speak like that, the siblings were struck with a sudden tension. Take your seats, everyone. At those words, the dining hall was wrapped in total silence and everyone hurriedly returned to their designated seats. It was as though students who had been bustling around just before homeroom had suddenly returned to their seats when the teacher came, and it might even have looked humorous. But there was no way anyone would joke about it. Everyone sat in order, and Shannon, Goda, and Kumasawa stood up straight in a row by the wall. The head of the glorious Ushimiya family and Lord of Rokenjima, the island that sparkles gold, Lord Ushimiya Kinzo, has arrived. Of the double doors that led to the dining hall, Genji opened the right door from the inside and Kanon opened the left door from the outside. And welcomed by a respectful bow from those two, majestically fluttering his cape, Kinzo appeared. Kinzo's gait had a dignified weight to it, and it was hard to believe that he had reportedly been at the end of his life. Genji pulled back Kinzo's seat and motioned for him to sit. But Kinzo stayed standing, signaling with his chin for Genji to move back. Welcome to Rokenjima, ladies and gentlemen. Why the frightened face, Ava? No, why would I be frightened? I'm just relieved to find you in excellent spirits, Father. Ava, you're as amusing as ever, aren't you? Why don't you just honestly say how frustrated you are losing your bet with Kraus? You can't say it, can you? Ava realized that their conversation during the day had indeed been leaked to Kinzo, and she hung her head, turning red. Well then, my sons and daughters, and their companions, tonight I shall make an important announcement regarding my inheritance and the succession that you all seem so keen on. But first, I must tell you how incredibly disappointed I am. After all, until this very day, no one has been able to solve the riddle of the epitaph. Even though Kinzo said he was disappointed, a condescending smile rose to his face, as though there was no way the likes of these could have solved it, and his gaze passed through all of them. I had planned to hand over everything to the one who could solve it, but none have been able to solve it before today, and here we stand with nothing of mine passed down to anyone. How shameful to think that not one among you has come forward with the qualifications to succeed me. How truly disappointing, shameful, and pathetic. The siblings hung their heads in silence. Of course, they would have solved it if they could. True, they couldn't deny that they wasted a golden opportunity, but it was just so hard. Therefore, I am proclaiming here and now that I will suspend the use of the epitaph's riddle as a method of choosing my successor. In short, time's up. This is game over. And what a shame for you all. Even though it should have been given you all equal and fair chance, it's all gone now. It truly sounded like Kinzo was making a victory proclamation. In that case, will my oldest son Kraus succeed the headship? The answer is no. What? You understand, right, Kraus? I certainly gave you the title of successor, but all you did was let it go to your head. Do you know what a successor is? It means the person who will inherit your position after you, father. Wrong! The position of successor isn't something that's guaranteed by the current head at all. Yeah, I give everything to Maria. Obviously. It was hidden in the umbrella I gave her. Listen up, Kraus. I won't tell you this again. A successor is what you call someone who finds everyone else who's after the headship, thoroughly breaks their noses, and makes it so they can never disobey him again. This is not something that can be said of the headship. It's the same with money. A rich person doesn't mean someone has money. It means someone who crushes everyone, who has more money than himself, and who scrabbles together more money than anyone else. It's the same with talent. A genius is not what you call someone blessed with talent. It means a person who crushes everyone with more talent than themselves. A person who can coerce geniuses and all other people to call them that using strength and charisma. You have mistaken impression when it comes to all of these things. So, you aren't of the right caliber to be my successor. I'll take your words to heart. Perhaps that truly was Kinzo's philosophy. As a result of faithfully carrying out that rant-like philosophy of his, Kinzo had glorified the Ushimiya family to the state that it was in today. It may be hard to imagine after his immersion in the cult in recent years, but that brutally overbearing outlook was no more or less than Ushimiya Kinzo's charisma and aura. Such an unsatisfactory person is not qualified to inherit everything of the Ushimiya family. In that case, is Ada, Rudolph, or Rosa qualified? Again, no. You were unable to solve the riddle, and you were also unable to use a scheme to drag Kraus down. All the three of you managed to do was gather together in a united front to try and extort money from Kraus. And even that scheme was thoughtless. You can't even corner Kraus all by himself. There could be nothing more shameful. You lack the avarice to steal away the position of successor by any means. In order to get what you want, you should sacrifice everything, becoming as covetous and greedy as possible. The goddess of luck smiles upon the greedy. You three who don't have that wild spirit are as unfit for the succession as Kraus is. Ava and the rest had no words to respond with, and they couldn't calculate what it was Kinzo was about to say. Was Kinzo actually planning to proclaim that no one would succeed the headship? If so, that would work to Ava, Rosa, and Rudolph's advantage. After all, in the end, they just have to renegotiate everything among the siblings after Kinzo's death, splitting the inheritance evenly. It would surely be more troublesome if a specific person's name was raised and proclaimed to be successor. But would Kinzo really say something to benefit any of the four siblings after demeaning them so much? You don't think he's going to say that because no one will succeed him, he'll donate all of his fortune to charity or something, right? I'm afraid I wouldn't put it past his father. The blood's just risen to his head. We can't do anything but let him talk for now. Well then, father, what thoughts do you have regarding the succession of the headship? Since I'm so utterly disappointed in all of you, I've lost the desire to hand it over to anyone. Therefore, the Ushimiya family will end here. It ends with my generation. That cannot. The Ushimiya family was crushed long ago in that earthquake. The current Ushimiya family is nothing but an illusion of gold I'm glimpsing for an instant, the likes of which will end when I awaken from my slumber. Everything in this world is a dream, an illusion. Life is but a daydream before the awakening called death. Yes, that's how it was from the beginning. That I should lose everything when I die was part of Beatrice's contract and her curse. As if I'd let you, Beatrice. I will be the one who captures you. Tonight, that goal will be realized. For a while, Kinzo was overcome with cackling and his eyes bulged. Whenever he talked about Beatrice, it was always both eloquent and insane. Foolish children such as yourselves truly are daydreams. It's as though you were never there from the beginning. Disappear. Wake up. Disappear from the doze of the truth that I am. You failures have not built up anything that makes you worthy to succeed me. Kinzo-san, if I may. What is it, my friend? Nanjo nervously raised his hand, asking to speak. Alright, Nanjo's here. Kinzo allowed him to. I understand how you feel, Kinzo-san. Because you love your children, you expect a lot of them. And as a parent and grandparent myself, I understand how parental affection can make you feel as though your expectations were betrayed. However, you are extraordinary, Kinzo-san. A genius. Isn't saying that it's only natural for them to catch up to you a little too harsh? Despite that, Kraus-san, Aba-san, Rudolph-san, Rosa-san, all of their partners have done their very best to catch up with you. Look at Nanjo being like the voice of reason, and able to put it in such eloquent words. Oh, and just how much money have they built up with this doing their best, after these cowards failed completely in ventures and gained debt and still try to sponge off me? How can you say they did their very best? Money is the crystallization of everything in this world. If you cannot grasp that, you cannot grasp the world. If a life cannot strongly grasp this world, it doesn't deserve to live. Disappear. Disappear from my life and reality. That's a reckless argument. With that logic, even I must not live. Even so, I believe the time I spent playing chess with you was worthwhile for us both, Kinzo-san. You should know better than anyone else that there are many things in this world that cannot be bought with money. As the siblings motionlessly hung their heads, they cheered Nanjo on inside their hearts. Not one of the siblings could offer their opinion in front of Kinzo in a rage, but Kinzo's close friend Nanjo alone was allowed to. Even though Kinzo had raged so fiercely after being admonished by Nanjo, he nodded several times as though in agreement. This surprisingly obedient side of him might have seemed cute, but there was no one here who could laugh. It may be true that your children haven't built up as great of a fortune as you have, Kinzo-san, though even so they're rich enough to make me jealous. But besides money, they've also built up many things that cannot be bought with money. When it comes to that, they are in no way inferior to you, Kinzo-san. Huh. And what do you claim they have built up that cannot be bought with money? Happiness. Family. They have found wonderful partners, had children, and each has built up their own happy homes. Yeah, happy homes like Rosa and Maria. They have glorified your family name and have brought back grandchildren. Grandchildren are wonderful. We older people can look at these young grandchildren who live on into a new era that we will not even be given a chance to see, and in them we can imagine an endless future. Isn't that the sole entertainment we have in our old age? Remember, Kinzo-san, remember your joy when they first brought back grandchildren. Your children and your grandchildren will carry your great works on to future generations, setting an example. That is something that an individual cannot accomplish no matter how much money they have. The siblings all nodded in agreement. Certainly Kinzo had looked happy when his grandchildren had just been born, back when he still had some sanity in his heart. However, did Kinzo's heart still contain a human's warmth? In other words, in exchange for the vast riches I created, instead of gaining money, I've gained my grandchildren? No, that's not what I... So in exchange for the several tens of billions in wealth that I have built up, I have gained a single grandchild from each of my children. This is wonderful. So I have created a single life using 10 billion yen? That's how it is? Interesting, truly an interesting example in the alchemical sense, right? Oh, what valuable grandchildren. Wonderful, wonderful. Is that right, Kraus? Is your daughter worth 10 billion yen? Kraus couldn't answer instantly. It wasn't that he didn't have confidence in his daughter, it was because he didn't have a clue what Kinzo was trying to test him with this question. But when Natsui was then pressed for an answer, she responded, breaking Kraus' silence with an answer of her own interpretation. Yes, Jessica is a daughter I wouldn't let go of even for 10 billion yen. In that sense, I believe she has a value that can't be measured with money. Oh, so you can state for certain that she's worth 10 billion. Oh. What about you, Ava? What about your George? Since Natsui had answered that way, Ava naturally came up with her own answer as well. Even though Ava should have known better than to respond to a provocative question like this, she answered as well. Yes, father, George is worth 10 billion. No, even more than that. And that's not in the abstract sense of things money can't buy. George will certainly build up a fortune equal to his worth. He'll become a grandson worthy of carry on your great works, father. Ava sent a glance at Hideyoshi and Natsui as if she'd scored a point. When she heard what Ava said, Natsui was about to add more praise for her daughter, but stopped at a glare from Kraus. I see. Then what about you, Rudolph? What about your Battler? Compared to George-kun, there's nothing about Battler I can brag about. If he was kidnapped and we were threatened with a ransom of 10 billion, I'd feel like sticking a bow on the guy and letting them have him. On top of that, he's an idiot and reckless. He talks about grand dreams and things he couldn't be done. I guess in that way, he's a super idiot worth the equivalent of 10 billion normal idiots. But I'm sure that guy could do things even a group of 10 billion average people couldn't do. Well, I'm pretty sure he'll fall flat on his face. The world isn't easy. But at the very least, there's no doubt that watching over his life will be more fun than looking at 10 billion average people. Ava clicked her tongue at the clever style of speech, which would probably match Kinzo's tastes. Apparently Rudolph had done that on purpose, so he grinned back at her. What of Maria? Maria is my adorable and only daughter. Her value cannot be measured with money. That is all. Huh, I see. Dreams and the future, miracles and possibilities are the source of my magical power. No magic without hopes holds any strength. Huh, I cannot expect any more from you who have proven to be average, but I see my grandchildren hold future possibilities, and expecting a magical miracle from them might be worthwhile. If you're saying that, in this way they are worth more than 10 billion. Yes, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, watch it be like, yeah, George and Jessica, you can get 10 billion yen each, and then Battler, Maria, you get nothing. When Kinzo got in a rage, he wouldn't let anyone speak up, but even so, he would sometimes accept something on his own, while yelling by himself and change his own opinion. And that's what this felt like to the siblings. Apparently, even though Kinzo had been disgusted by his unsuccessful children, and had cast them away as being unfit for the inheritance of his title or his fortune, he wasn't sure about his grandchildren. At this rate, he might soon say that the inheritance would go to his grandchildren instead of his siblings. As the siblings sat in fear of what their fickle and short-tempered father might suddenly think of next, they carefully watched his every move. Let me change my thinking a little. I have absolutely no desire to hand over all I have to any of you. However, it'll be quite interesting to question the grandchildren, to see if one of them is qualified. I've always thought of them as mere kids, but there's a chance I'll find a shining gem amongst them that will catch me off guard. And testing them for that would be... Yes, it would be a shame to abandon that final side trip in my remaining life. Well then, what shall I do? I can, with confidence, recommend George as someone fitting to follow after you. Ava claimed that right away. Natsui looked like she was about to follow along, but Kraus gave her a look telling her to restrain herself, so she swallowed her words. How bold. Then let us do this. I will individually question the grandchildren to see if they are qualified to succeed the Ushimiya family inheritance and wealth. Father. However, that does not mean that one of you will indirectly receive the inheritance. I am already disappointed in you all. There is no longer anything I have to give you. Not a thing. The ones I will question are my grandchildren, and the ones who might succeed me are my grandchildren. Make absolutely sure that you do not mistake this, understood? I shall obey Father's decision. Same here. I'll go along with what he decides. What about you, Aniki? Of course! I believe Father will make a wise judgment. I will also obey Father's decision. I shall think of how to test my grandchildren, which means this is no longer any business of yours. After all, none of you are involved with the succession in any way now. So right here, right now, perhaps we should discuss a different matter that does involve you. different matter. Indeed. That is tonight's true purpose, and the true purpose for this final Ushimiya family conference as well. I have no desire to hear thoughts and opinions. I demand only your assistance. Assistance in my ceremony. Your ceremony? Quiet. Father's talking now. Rudolph and the rest had automatically narrowed their brows at the occult-like word. Could he be planning to start some strange ceremony involving Beatrice's resurrection again? And he wanted their assistance. What in the world was he planning to do? In the past, he had carried out many eccentricities that he called by that same name, such as starting to burn a strange incense and filling the whole mansion with the stench. To the siblings, the ceremony was nothing more than one of the aged Kinzo's obnoxious hobbies. Father, just what do you mean by that? If we can assist you, we'll do anything. Right, Rosa? Yes? But what in the world is it? A ceremony as inscribed in my epitaph. A ceremony to revive Beatrice and open the door to the Golden Land. That witch who escaped her cage of flesh and sneeringly slipped through my fingers I shall now capture, and force into submission with my greatest hidden art. For that purpose, I must offer 13 people as sacrifices. Gathering 13 people's worth of sacrifice is no easy feat. But tonight is the family conference. Many adults have gathered on Rokujima. There could be no other day on which to carry out this ceremony. Taken literally, it sounded like he was telling them to become human sacrifices for his dark ceremony and die. Ridiculous. Was it some kind of metaphor? But they didn't even have a clue what he was trying to illustrate. The siblings whispered together about what Kinzo was saying. What's Dad going on about? Is this his usual sickness? Probably. Listen silently for now. I'm sorry, Father. I don't understand what you mean by that. What is it you don't understand? I am making this extremely simple. I told you I'll choose 13 of the humans on this island and offer them as sacrifices in a ceremony to revive Beatrice. Even worthless people like you can be very useful as sacrifices in my ceremony. Yeah, plot twist, the entire dining room is just a giant transmutation circle. He's about to go Full Metal Alchemist on everyone. Listen, this is not a joke, nor anything of the sort. This is my final bet, my final ceremony, the last one I will desire in my life. There are now more than 13 humans on this island. In short, that's a head count that can easily satisfy the massive number of sacrifices I require. Become the sacrifices for my ceremony. Kinzo-san, you weren't serious about what you said back then there, were you? It wasn't a joke. Unusually for him, Nanjo's face changed color as he stood up and shouted. It seemed this wasn't the first time Nanjo had heard all this dark talk about 13 sacrifices. Sorry, my friend. That was no joke nor anything of the sort. It is what I bet my life on, the final ceremony, the final game that I will attempt. Yes, this is a game. If gaining my fortune and leaving the island is your goal, then there are only 2 ways to achieve it. Will you escape being chosen as one of the 13 sacrifices, and spectacularly survive by solving the epitaph riddle and stopping the ceremony? Or will you kill me, and thereby stop this ceremony? Those are your 2 only options. By now, everyone wasn't just whispering, but chattering and muttering away. Even the siblings had noticed that Kinzo was beginning to act abnormally. Father, are you a little tired? Genji-san, has father been drinking? No, the master is sensible. Sorry, Dad. I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Dad's free to start up any weird ceremony he wants to revive the witch he loves. That's his hobby. But getting wrapped up in that, and being made into a human sacrifice is a little more than I can handle. Yeah, sure, Dad, let's just get you to bed. Please? Rudolph, are you trying to interrupt Father? What are you talking about, Aniki? You expect me to listen to something that's shady and say, oh, really? Was the ceremony Kinzo had mentioned literally something disturbing, or was it some kind of test to choose a successor? It seemed that Rudolph had taken it literally, but Ava apparently still believed it was something like a test or an examination to find a proper successor. Kinzo responded with a clear smile. Well then, that is all I have to say. No objections or opinions are necessary from you. I will simply awaken from my dream of having 4 unsuccessful children. To all of you, what will occur now before your very eyes may seem like a dream, an illusion, something that couldn't be conceivably be of this world, and a world that defies understanding. But that itself is my reality. Now, I will finally awaken from the shallow, useless dream that all of you are. Come, the game has already begun, you see. With this many of you here, I can take lives starting with anyone. So long, my unsuccessful children, and for the final and only time of your lives, be useful for my ceremony. Arise, Pendragon's memorial troops. When Kinzo raised his arms high like an opera singer and yelled as though through a packed audience, the air shattered like glass, and the outlines of 3 people who supposedly hadn't been invited to this island appeared. Chester 45 right here. Chester 410 right here. Chester 00 right here, sir. 00 was new for this episode. She was not in episode 3. 3 girls with strange forms suddenly appeared behind Kinzo. It's so funny to think of him like summoning a bunch of like bunny girls. Where from? When? Who? Who were they? The humans were thrown off balance and their minds went blank. Because they spent all that time thinking they lost their last chance to survive. You have permission to shoot 6 to death. I leave the choice of targets up to you. Begin your attack. Unrestricted firing, understood, sir. Thank you for granting us such excellent targets. Everyone, commence unrestricted firing. Yeah, first one in, yeah? Yeah. When 410 scratched the air with her finger, a golden bow appeared in empty space and she pulled its string. The golden arrow that had been ready there was fired off without any hesitation, flew around the room leaving haphazard gold curves everywhere, and chose Natsui from among those sitting at the table at the family conference, pulverizing the left half of her face. Flesh and deep red blood scattered around, leaving massive red spatter marks on the relatives' faces and the pure white tablecloth. Silence fell. Despite the massive number of deep red spots left on the tablecloth, no one could understand why Natsui's head was half smashed, nor why she was hanging her head as though dozing while still sitting. And they watched on in silence. Those sitting on Natsui's right-hand side were silent for a relatively long time, but those sitting to her left were not. Because the people sitting on that side had been shown how her head had been smashed open like a watermelon or a pomegranate. I could even see inside her. Natsui. One down. Natsui, is it? A luckless woman to the end. Next. 00 firing. After scratching the empty air in the same way and readying her bow, 00 fired as well. After it flew around and around at high speeds like a golden arrow 410 had released, drawing a convoluted curve in the same manner. It smashed half of Rudolph's head in the same way as he looked at Natsui in shock, killing him instantly. This time, everyone managed to avoid freezing up mentally. They realized that a fearsome murder had started playing out right in front of them, just as Kinzo had said. And they realized that Kinzo would probably kill even more. Ah! Ah! Shrill screams burst out. Even so, they didn't know what to do. So, they could only keep screaming and flapping their wide-open mouths like goldfish. Father! What do you think you're doing? You fool! Run now! As Eva asked Kinzo that in total shock, Hideyoshi, who had come to his senses faster than anyone else and risen to his feet, pulled at her arm from behind. However, merciless fate's choice for the third sacrifice was Hideyoshi. Just like the two before him, half of Hideyoshi's head was neatly smashed, and the right side of his head, which happened to be facing in that direction at the time, had been blown away with its contents exposed like a watermelon or a pomegranate. So still holding Eva, Hideyoshi slumped backwards and fell down. Still held by her beloved husband, Eva fell over backwards with him. Dear? Dear! Ah! Eva screamed. It was only natural. The face she had been looking for had been half lost, and the crushed skull, the mashed brains, and the crushed jaw all lay bare. 45, impact, it's a hit! Spectacular. Fire again. 3 more remain. Father, what is this supposed to be? When Kraus stood up forcefully and was about to rush Kinzo, 00 blocked him. With her slender-looking body, she held back Kraus with just the palm of her right hand. He still tried to resist and attack Kinzo, so 00 lifted Kraus by the nape of his neck and twisted into his Adam's apple with her thumb. It seemed to be very painful, and Kraus was overcome with agony. Everyone run! Get the police! An ambulance! Quickly! Everyone, let's escape! Escape! Nanjo's sharp words finally dissolved the spell that had been holding them down in their chairs. When Goda and Kumasawa each tried to escape from the dining hall first, 410 moved in an instant and appeared there, blocking the way. Yeah, you sure are slow, yeah? Did you think I'd let you escape, yeah? Yeah! Help me! Goda-san, duck! Even though Goda didn't understand, he crouched when he heard Kirie's sharp voice. Then a burst of air rushed above his head. Kirie had taken a big swing with a chair to mow 410 down. But 410, still with a mocking expression, easily caught that widely swung chair with a single hand. What a scary woman, yeah? You really want to go the same way as your husband that much? From the cuff of her arm where she had caught the chair, something like a shining golden snake appeared, wrapped itself around the chair and burst open. It was a fearsome power like a vice. When Kirie realized that being in front of her, which looked like a girl, was actually something that surpassed human knowledge, and that human could not even begin to oppose, her head was filled with a fierce alarm bell that welled up from deep inside her. Genji, Shannon, and Cannon, all the servants permitted to wear the one-winged eagle, continued to stand calmly at attention by the wall, even with a scene like this before their eyes, making them look very bizarre and eerie. For an instant, Kirie thought they'd managed to stay calm because they were with the enemy, and had been given a guarantee they wouldn't be killed. But as soon as she thought that, the side of Genji's face was blown away before her eyes. Genji-san? 45, impact, it's a hit. Oh, Genji, how unfortunate. Rest in peace, my friend. Your death will not be wasted. You will become one of the 13 keys essential to the resurrection of my beloved witch. The half of Genji's expression that remained was as indifferent as ever. He tilted, fell over, and sent a blood-red splatter out across the floor. Genji-sama, we're nothing more than the witch's pieces. Nothing more, nothing more. From the meek and frustrated, no, resigned expressions on Shannon and Cannon's faces, one couldn't sense any naive hopes that they'd be rescued. That's right, Kinzo was, in the truest sense, carrying out these murders at random. In the truest sense, he was killing like it was a game to see who would be saved and who would be killed. Well then, who will we go for next, yeah? 410 looked at Kirie for a second. In that second, Kirie was prepared for her own death. When she readied her golden bow in midair, 410 was looking at someone else over Kirie's shoulder. So as imprudent as it was, Kirie felt as though she had been saved. Again, an ugly, exploding popping sound rang throughout the room. Who was it this time? When Kirie turned to face the direction of the sound, she saw blood gushing like a fountain, and Ava lying on her husband's chest. Of course, her face had been half smashed just like her husband's. 410 had mercilessly targeted Ava as she clung to her husband's corpse, sobbing. Let go of Nissan! Let go of Nissan! Just stop it, father! Just stop this brutality! Run away, Rosa! Ah! Rosa's objection didn't reach Kinzo as he continued to laugh loudly in the blood-splattered dining hall, and she wasn't able to lessen Krause's pain at being lifted by the nape of the neck by 00. So Rosa had no choice but to use force. She lifted up a chair beside her and gave a warning. Father, order her to let go of Nissan. Just stop them from doing this. I cannot. If that is what you desire, then prevent it using your own power. Cut a path through to your own fate with your own hands. You who have always hid behind the backs of others in fear, let me see you overcome your weakness one last time in your life. Father. The chair that Rosa lifted up swung down at the father who had reigned as a symbol of terror for her entire life. It was the greatest and final act of bravery and self-control in Rosa's life. What Kinzo had said might have been true. If she had grasped that courage much sooner, her life might have become more free, unrestrained by anyone else. Then there was a bursting sound. The sound of Rosa's chair fiercely hitting Kinzo. Could not have been this. With the chair still lifted up, she had neatly lost half of her head and slumped over. Still holding Kraus up with one hand, 00 stuck out her other hand towards Rosa. The golden snake released from that arm had constricted Rosa in a helix and smashed into her head. Defensive firing. I apologize for the discourtesy of shooting so close to you, sir. I care not. So this makes 6 people. Yes, Lord Goldsmith, this makes 6 people. When she indifferently communicated that 00 let go of Kraus, whom she had been lifting up this whole time. Indeed. So the sacrifices of the first Twilight were Ava, Rudolph, Rosa, Natsui, Hideyoshi, and Genji. Yeah, he's Lord Goldsmith. He's Godbert Vanderbilt now, apparently. It was a massacre that happened in an instant. The interior of the dining hall had been dirtied by blood splatter, and the 6 unlucky victims lay with their heads brutally exposed. In the anime, this scene happens so quickly too, like the deaths happen like pretty much within 2 minutes of each other. It's pretty intense. In a way that was fitting for the abnormal space, Kinzo's abnormal laugh alone echoed out. The curtain has finally risen. The ceremony to revive Beatrice has begun. You lucky ones who have managed to escape the first Twilight, allow me to introduce you to my friends. Arise, my friend. Ronov. When Kinzo called Ronov's name, the demon butler showed himself in midair, bowing respectfully. Pleased to meet you, everyone. And good day to those of you I haven't seen for a long time. It seems this place is once again spectacularly untidy. Pay it no mind. It takes a stimulant of this level to wake me from my daydream-like days. Allow me to introduce my friend, a reliable butler, and one of the 72 great demons, Ronov. I am pleased to make your acquaintance. Just who was he making that introduction to? Kraus and Kirie, who are still down on their backsides, and Nanjo, Goda, and Kumasawa, could only look up at this middle-aged gentleman they didn't know in shock. Only Shannon and Cannon seemed to recognize him, and they bowed deeply. So, I wasn't able to greet Genji. I hope he was at least able to fulfill his purpose painlessly. It was an instant death from the direct hit to the head. He didn't have time to feel the pain. Is that so? Very well. Allow me to introduce another friend. Arise, my friend, Virgilia. Once again, a silhouette of someone the relatives didn't know appeared from empty space. She appeared in a refined dress while making an elegant greeting. Thank you for summoning me, Master. Although I would rather not have been summoned into a bloody place such as this. Allow me to introduce her too. This is both my friend and a reliable counselor, Virgilia. I desire to borrow your great power as the Witch of the Finite. Lend it to me. Even if I tried to refuse, such a power wouldn't be permitted for one subordinated by the power of your summonings. As you wish, Master. Still, what a fearsome fellow, to think he summoned 3 of the Chiestra Sister Corps, then me, and even Virgilia, even though it's only in the area of summoning to think he surpasses Milady so thoroughly. How frightening. I can't help but shudder at the Ushumiya blood. In order to carry out Beatrice's resurrection ceremony, I shall give it my all as a summoner. This still isn't enough. In order to perfectly succeed in the ceremony this time, I shall summon more. The Pendragon Memorial Troops, and Ronov and Virgilia. I can still call more. With my magical power, I can still call many more. Answer to my summons. One of the 72 demons, Gop. Gop? You can even materialize her? It probably means the corrosion has advanced even more on this island. It has already proceeded far enough to materialize us. By now, we shouldn't be surprised no matter how great a demon he summons. Has Rokenjima already been completely sucked into a parallel world, then? I hope he does not surrender. He learned a lot last time, correct? After all, this time he won't surrender over this much. Probably, I should say. Well then, shall we enjoy the stage as we now stand upon? It seems the main character is the master this time. Let us expect a script of a different flavor than Milady's. When Kinzo strongly concentrated his magical power, a pale light gathered in the empty air, twisted, and a magic circle was drawn there with a deep red glow. Yes, this is a lot to take in. This whole episode has been kind of slow going, and then now suddenly everything's happening at once. And with a sound like glass breaking, a new demon could be seen there. You did well to answer to my call. Gup, one of the 72 great demons. This is one hell of a place you've summoned me to. Did you call me to clean up this bloodstained room, goldsmith? The literally devilish woman, wrapped in a venomous, ominous costume, looked at the scene, which should have been made her cover for eyes, and twisted her mouth in a grin. Yeah, Gup has a big gap in her dress. Apparently her attire is based after a real dress from a Japanese clothing company called, like, Devilishly Pretty or something like that. To summon you for such a reason would be like using a cashier muffler to mop the floor. Or cashmere, not cashier. It's been a long time, Gup. To think that a great demon such as yourself has finally appeared on this island. Perhaps this island is finally submerging completely into fantasy. This all-star cast is even more surprising than the gruesome state of the room. A full 3 Chester sisters, the great demon Runov, the great witch Virgilia, and even me. What's going on? Is this pandemonium? Are you trying to start a concert from hell or something? I see. As a conductor for that, I couldn't think of anyone better than you, Goldsmith. Yeah, this music is, different. This particular music theme actually has lyrics, too. I don't know when they play the lyric version of it, but this is the instrumental version of it. I will have your assistance as facilitator in the completion of my ceremony to resurrect Beatrice. You have no objections to my summoning contract, correct? Of course not. There's no way I could resist the subordinating power of the legendary Great Summoner, Lord Goldsmith, who forced the famous Great Witch Beatrice to do his bidding. I'll assist you, although I will of course ask a fitting price. So, what's my first job? Capture the cowards who made it through the first twilight. Fortunately, there are still 7 here, aren't there? Nanjo, Shannon, Kanon, Goda, Kumasawa, Kyrie, and Kraus. Huh, if these 7 are all offered as sacrifices, that's exactly 13 people. Until it's time for the second and later twilights to be carried out, throw them into the cage of sacrifices. Cashmere mop, huh? Understood. As Gup shrugged her shoulders, she looked at Kraus, who was still down on his butt. She glared. Then when she snapped her fingers, Kraus was swallowed up by the floor, as though a round pitfall had opened up beneath him. Ugh! One down. There was no hole in the floor, but it certainly looked as though Kraus had been swallowed up by a hole and disappeared. Searching for her next prey, Gup's gaze crossed Kyrie's. She snapped her fingers. Kyrie jumped back as though repelled. Her instincts had been right. After all, in the place where she'd been until a second ago, a round, jet-black hole had appeared, the same kind that swallowed up Kraus. However, before she could catch her balance, another pitfall appeared and swallowed her up. Even Kyrie had no way of eluding Gup's capture. Ugh! When she snapped her fingers again, a shocked Nanjo was swallowed up by the floor and disappeared. When she did it again, 410 let out a short yell and jumped back. This time a slightly larger pitfall had opened, swallowing both Shannon and Kanon, who had been standing in a line by the door. Because 410 had jumped away from the door, the way was no longer blocked. Instinctively aware that he would be next, Goda dashed out through the door. Of course, Kumasawa also escaped with lightning speed, chasing after Goda. As Gop snapped her fingers over and over, round, jet-black pitfalls opened one after another behind them, chasing them. However, they did nothing but drive the recklessly fleeing pair away and couldn't swallow them up. Goda and Kumasawa had escaped in a matter of seconds. I've gotten slow. I let 2 get away. Don't worry, we are currently locking on to the escapee targets. Data link ready. Shall we snipe? No, I cannot authorize that. They are precious sacrifices. Wait for the master's authorization. Great Lord Goldsmith, we await your orders. It is still too soon for the coming of the second twilight, is what the source of my magical power is whispering to me. It must not be now. Let them do as they please. It isn't as though they can escape from this island. The source of the master's magical power is noise and risk and tests of luck. Oh, in other words, it means being fickle, it would seem. Perhaps you could also put it that way. Good work, Gop. Let us steadily advance the ceremony from here on. Well then, that is that. Next are my grandchildren. I will test them to see whether they are qualified to become my successor. Let's see. How shall I test their qualifications? If you decide that they are qualified, do you intend to abandon Bito's resurrection? Of course, and despite that I will test them. Perhaps a woman cannot understand that contradiction, nor my madness. Well, apparently men are as weird as ever. I don't get the very concept of playing around with risk. Oh my, and I thought you loved that sort of thing. Of course, if a man whispers to me about dangerous risks in love, I go head over heels. But only if he's hot. Be quiet. Try to refrain from whispering. Truly noisy women. But at least they aren't boring. This is what makes summoning so pleasant. All of you will bear one side of the scales of noise and risk in my ceremony. That is the work I expect of you. 6 brutally murdered corpses lay in the dining hall, and it was contaminated with red, gruesome decorations. It was now unimaginable that, until just a second ago, 13 humans had been arranged here in a well-organized manner. Kinzo lined up the famous demons and their subordinates, loudly declared the beginning of a night of overwhelming mass murders, and swore to himself that he would certainly revive Beatrice and open the door to the Golden Land. Sorry to keep you waiting. Now the curtain finally rises on the first twilight. That Kinzo, I see, he loves being flashy as usual. So even that man who could be more persistent than anything when he follows you around can shine so when on the stage. Damn, always killing in a grotesque way as usual. Smashing half their heads? The bad taste you witches and demons have always pissed me off. Smashing half of their heads, I see. So she's realized that in the games up until now, that's been the most ideal method of killing. Ideal? How is such a grotesque way of killing ideal? Isn't it though? Try to remember the very first game. You. So you're that new demon or whatever that just appeared. Damn, so does this mean the witch's corrosion continued, and there are now even more creeps wandering around? The more the witch's corrosion advances, the more Rokonjima tilts towards the spirit world. That's why strange, insane people keep appearing one by one. This island has been closed off by the typhoon, so no human can leave it, much less appear as a new character to increase their numbers. But the more the corrosion advances, the more witches and demons can appear without limit, increasing one by one. By now, there might be more demons than humans among the characters appearing in this insane tale. Their numbers might be the thing that represents this mad corrosion. Yeah, I'm sure that's true. Hey Aru, welcome to the stream! Thank you so much for stopping by. Hello, I'm doing well. Hope you're having a great evening. And the corrosion hasn't just affected the number of people, but apparently their fashion sense as well. If the corrosion advances any further and even more weird people appear, just what in the world will they be wearing? It's so scary I can't imagine. Ugh, seriously, give me a break. Don't make these weird guys increase in number anymore. I can't do that. They'll keep increasing more and more. I'll defy the foolish closed circle rule humans speak of over and over again. Welcome to my elegant game, Gop. It's been a long time, Rish. Have you been well? Why do I ask? You look great. Have you gotten younger? You look 200 or 300 years younger than when I last saw you. Ah, I see. The demon grandfather had summoned and introduced as Gop, took a glance at me and then grinned as though she figured something out on her own. That smile felt openly obscene. I guess she's Bito's friend. Which means she's gotta be a creep among creeps. By the way, they were saying something about a closed circle or whatever. What does that mean? Serial murder mystery novels that occur in places isolated from the outside world, like Rokonjima is now, are sometimes called closed circles. Since such a place is isolated from the outside, it's like a circle that's closed. Therefore, in general, the characters and suspects are limited in number. Having new suspect candidates added one after another from outside the circle goes against the etiquette of mystery novels. In other words, the witch is probably trying to desecrate humans and the mystery genre itself. You're Gretel? I see you look like a wise kid. I love kids like you. You taste so sweet and tantalizing. Gross. Keep the jokes to your clothing. I like how everyone just dunks on her clothes. It's Devilish Pretty's newest Jack the Ripper Christmas blood. So the real-life Japanese clothing brand is not called Devilish Pretty, but it's like something similar. I think maybe it's like Angelic Pretty or something like that. It's something very similar, but they apparently make a style of clothing that looks just like this. Sorry for having a style that a country bumpkin from the human world couldn't understand, okay? At least we know it's well ventilated. Why don't you add a gap to the head part as well? Let a little air into your brain. Gop is always sensitive to the fashions of the spirit world, but this year's fad truly is bold. I think I'll order one sometime. For you, Rish, I'd recommend Ali Gray, Alice and the Graveyard. Let's go to 666 sometime soon to look at the clothes. You really should drop by the spirit world every now and then. When this game is over, I'll be sure to do that. Still, your two opponents are pretty cute, Rish. It looks like this kid has figured out the meaning of the corpses with their heads half smashed. Know what that is, girl? Just now she told me to remember the first game. What did that mean? That's what it sounds like. Remember the first twilight of the very first game, when the adults' corpses were found in the gardening shed with the magic circle drawn on it. Remember? Episode 1. The First Twilight. Kraus, Rudolph, Kyrie, Rosa, Shannon, and Goda. All 6 of them had their heads pulverized and died. At that time, there were 2 types of corpses. Some had their faces pulverized, and some had half their faces pulverized. That's right. The ones with their faces smashed were Rudolph, Kyrie, Rosa, and Goda. The ones with the sides of their heads smashed were Kraus and Shannon. At the time, I ficklessly created 2 types of corpses, but I realized that the former, more atrocious type were actually disadvantageous for me. Disadvantageous for you. I see. So that's what this is. That's right. The smashed faces might look atrocious, but that made it hard to confirm the identity of each person. For example, at that time Uncle Kraus and Shannon-chan had their heads half smashed. That alone was atrocious enough, but because half their faces remained, it was easy to confirm their identities. But Dad and the other 3 were different. Because his face had been completely destroyed, even I, as his son, could only guess by inference that it had to be Dad because of his clothes and the like. In short, it remained vague until the end whether that had really been Dad's corpse. If this reasoning battle had taken place during the first game as well, I would probably have claimed that, since the identities of Dad and the rest's bodies were impossible to confirm, there was a possibility that one was a fake corpse. After all, Bito didn't state anything in red during that game. Well done, correct. A faked death is one of the basics of the mystery genre. Even if you make a doctor examine the corpse, you can't trust the results if you suspect him of being the culprit's accomplice. Therefore, corpses that can't guarantee a death for certain are always disadvantageous for the witch's side. You can suspect faked deaths for all corpses, hypothesizing that one or more of them is the culprit for the crimes that follow. It's a move Battler doesn't like, but it's the most elementary move to use against a witch. Yeah, that's right. That's why Bito started using the red. With the red truth, you can carry out a perfect autopsy. That's how it is. Normally, for the first Twilight, I would use the red truth right away, confirming the deaths of these 6. However, as you know, my battle strategy this time is the complete opposite of previous games, and I'll now use red truth starvation tactics. Since you use it as a grounding from which to counterattack, I will not use the red easily. I'll make you come apart at the seams by using red in just a single place as rarely as possible. In the end, it means I will permit all rants regarding your guesswork for all closed rooms, and I only have to smash one of those once with the red truth. Even though you've always teased me, once I start counterattacking, you now hold up back inside your shell. Quit kidding around. At any rate, I do not want to use the red. I want to be stingy. I want to bully Badler. But how could I guarantee a death for certain without using red? I worried and worried over it. Then, Gop gave me an idea. It truly is a simple method. I just point out something obvious and you hit upon the idea, Rish. I simply said that you only had to create corpses whose identity could be distinguished and whose complete death would be understood. In short, I put those two things together. The face, which is necessary to distinguish their identity, and the pulverization of the head, the vessel for the soul, which is a perfect symbol of death. When I put those two parts neatly together, wonderful. I came up with a perfect answer of corpses with their heads half smashed. I bet you love two-colored bread and two-colored ice cream. You're just like a greedy kid. At any rate, even if half their heads are smashed, we shouldn't assume they're dead at this point in time. I get it. Since Bito's trying to act tough and is refusing to say anything red, we've got to suspect everything. Of course, I'll definitely not gonna swallow the theory of a magical mass murder by the Chester-ass Nesant. You sure have gotten prudent. If this were the first game, you would have swallowed up everything. I wouldn't have anything less from a rival. Since there is fortunately no red now, he can imagine whatever he wants and reason over and over again as he likes. At the very end, at the very sweet spot, I'll cut him down at once with the red truth. Silent. Black. Cold. Painful. Rosa regained consciousness bit by bit. And the first thing she thought was that it would have been better if she hadn't. After all, with her body this cold and hurting, the pain grew the more her consciousness returned. It felt like she'd been sleeping on ice-cold marble in the darkness, lying face down for a long time. This is what I always tell myself. Even if it's just for a nap, I've got to at least grab a sofa. I know that if I naively try to close my eyes for just a second, and end up sleeping on the floor, or in the study chair, it'll hurt my body later and make things difficult. Since I slept on such a cold, hard floor, even my bones are ice cold. Since I slept on such a hard and cold floor that half of my face pressed against down it hurts a lot. If I were to look in a mirror right now, I'm sure I'd see an embarrassing mark. I didn't think that just rubbing it would make the mark disappear, but I stroked the hurting side of my face anyway, trying to smooth it over. I wonder, where is this? I thought it was pitch black, but it looks like it isn't. After all, I can faintly see my own body. Without a doubt, there was some kind of light. But even if I looked up at the ceiling or else the sky, there was only an expanse of blackness, and I couldn't see a proper light. My body alone was slightly lit, whereas everything else was sunk in darkness. That's what this world was like. It was almost as though Rosa alone had been abandoned in a forgotten world. As her mind grew clearer, she started getting nervous about why she was all alone in a lonely place like this. When she was about to call out, asking if anyone was there, she heard the patter, of footsteps coming towards her. They were light footsteps, so she thought it was probably a kid. She didn't sense anything disturbing, so she wasn't afraid. But they also weren't Maria's footsteps. So wondering who in the world would be in a darkness like this, she stared at the direction of the footsteps were coming from. As she did, a faint, approaching silhouette came into view. It looked like a child much younger than Maria. Who is it? I don't know this kid, but the expression on his face was like a lost child separated from his parents. As a parent with a daughter herself, Rosa felt as though his chest had been torn apart. Who are you? The instant the kid muttered that infantile word, she felt pain in the half of her face that started hurting from the cold floor, as though it had been pierced by long, thin, hard needles. Without thinking, she pressed her hand against the side of her face. Are you alright? Does it still hurt? Thanks, I'm fine, little guy. Where are we? It's really cold. Come this way. You mustn't stay here. That child took my other hand and pulled with a grim expression on his face. Rosa didn't have a clue what was going on. However, a single honest expression on a child can often tell the truth better than 100 words from an adult. She didn't know what the situation was, but even so she dashed along with him, still being pulled. But this was a world where nothing could be seen in the darkness, except for their own forms. It didn't even really feel like she was moving forwards. Even though she was running, she couldn't even feel any wind. It was as though she was still inside a nightmare, that kind of unreal sensation. So even though I ran, I couldn't maintain my sense of balance, and my legs got tangled and I fell. Even in a world that didn't feel real, the pain of smashing my face against the cold, hard floor was reality itself. Are you okay? I'm sorry, my head hurts. When the kids said that infantile word Uryu, pain like being stuck with needles ran through my head again. Even though it only happened twice, I was somehow able to understand that the child's word was the cause of my pain. So I said so frankly. I'm sorry, could you stop saying Uryu? Uryu? Ugh, wait a second, didn't I tell you to stop? Sorry. I had the feeling this child's apology caused a sharp pain in my forehead this time. What is this child? I know there's no malice in him, but when I'm around this child, my head hurts. Are you okay? Let's go quickly. You mustn't stay here. Why shouldn't I be here? Hey, where is this? Who are you? Where is your mama? The one who made me is you, Mama. Huh? That child stared at me with round eyes. This kid's mama is me? Who? Who is this kid? I don't remember at all. Did you forget about me? You made me, right? Wait a second. Stop kidding around. Maria is my only child. That's right. Where's Maria? Where is she? Maria? I suddenly grew nervous about Maria not being there. Why am I all alone in a place like this? Where is Maria? I'm only able to be me because Maria's there for me. Maria's here, but she's not Maria now. It's better if you don't meet with her now. It's better for your sake. And Maria's sake as well. For Maria's sake as well. Escape. Huh? What are you saying? Where's Maria? Maria? Answer me. Maria's gonna find you. Come this way, quickly, Mama. That child pulled on my hand again. He was probably pulling me in the opposite direction from Maria. So I stopped walking. Let go. Just who are you? What gives you the right to call me Mama? Mama is the one who made me. Did you forget? For Maria's birthday present. You made me with your own hands, did you forget? You couldn't be. Maria's? Sakataro. Yeah. The lion stuffed animal Mama made. Ugh. A fierce, sharp pain struck me. It came from the palm he had grasped with his hand. When I knocked his hand away without thinking, I looked at my palm. A hole the size of a thumb had opened there, and deep red blood gushed out. It was a hole so big I could see through to the other side. Are you okay? Are you okay? What's wrong? Sakataro noticed my wound and panicked. As far as I could tell by looking at him, he couldn't understand why my hand had sustained a serious injury. But in my eyes, it felt like I had been injured because he had grabbed my hand. Regardless of whether there was malice in him, I understood that the child was something that would do harm to me, and he instantly seemed eerie. Go away! You have nothing to do with me. Sakataro was just a disgusting, crappy stuffed animal, right? I don't know you. I'm not your mama. Go away. Disappear. Slowly, the base of Sakataro's neck was sliced in a horizontal line. It gaped open and pitch black insides peeked out. No blood poured from it, only empty blackness peeked out. Then, from the insides of the gash, cotton snow poured out, and as bits of cotton scattered, he slumped over. Then all that remained was a crumpled yellow cloth, and bits of cotton that looked like sticky, crushed cotton candy. A lion stuffed animal. Without a doubt, these were the remains of the Sakataro stuffed animal I tore apart on that day while overcome by my emotions. The instant I realized that, a long, sharp shriek that could rupture an eardrum tore the world apart. Sakataro, Sakataro, Like a flood from a broken dam, or like a broken TV, Maria cried out in a high-pitched voice. Her voice, which made the ears throb, brought up two emotions in me. One was regret. Yeah, I was overcome by my emotions and went overboard. It was a mother's desire to kneel down right away and hold Maria's head, cry with her, and apologize. In actual fact, I did that right away. I held Maria's head and apologized, crying. But Maria didn't stop crying. On the contrary, she rejected me, the one who had torn her closest friend apart, and pushed me away forcefully with both hands. I'd been on my knees in an unnatural position, so I fell backwards easily. Maria scraped together the yellow scraps of cloth and cotton bits, buried her face in them, and cried even more. Watching that, another emotion welled up. It welled up rapidly, and then it burst. After all, she refused to make up with me even though I'd apologized, and there was nothing else I could do now anyway, and it was all Maria's fault in the first place. Since she's too busy playing with stuffed animals all the time like this, she can't make any friends, and that's why people treat her like a freak. This is a perfect opportunity to give her some instructive guidance. After all, it's not like I was pampered all the time. Everything eventually breaks, is stolen, is destroyed by someone. Even I had lots of toys and treasures stolen, broken, mocked, and thrown away by my brothers and sisters and father and mother. But when I cried about that, while I might have shed a few tears, no one did. Or not once did I sob like this and trouble my parents, throw a tantrum, get mad, hit the floor and kick and make a racket. Even though I always wanted to, I thought I'd get in more trouble if I did, so I always held it back. It's because I did it back, or it's because I held it back that I was able to become the wonderful adult I am now. At that moment, I felt something strange. The same feeling as when you use a tool recklessly and it finally breaks, so only the base is left. But I wasn't using a tool. I'd just been repeatedly hitting Maria's head with both hands. So I looked at my hands. From my wrists onwards, my hands had broken off, splintered, and disappeared. As though only that part of my arms had been ceramic. No, as though all of me from the wrists onwards had suddenly become ceramic and broken and fallen. They must have gotten filled with cracks because I hit Maria too much before falling off. After all, look, aren't both my wrists lying smashed by my feet? There was no pain, but the shocking sight of my hands breaking off from the wrists onwards made me scream. What is this? What is this? My hands! My hands! My hands! Ah! This way, you won't be able to hit me anymore. Ignoring my confusion, Maria spoke with an icy voice, slowly moving her hands away from her head, where they'd been defending against my barrage. What's happening? My hands! My hands! What did you do, Maria? What is this? What on earth is this? Behind Maria's back, a black silhouette had appeared. It was the silhouette of an adult. Who? If she'd used those hands for patting her daughter's head, flipping through picture books, or making warm meals, it may have been worth leaving them on. Mama hit my head more than she patted it. She never opens picture books. She doesn't even make me food. I go to buy it myself. But I mustn't go to the same store more than once. Mustn't have my face remembered. Mustn't talk to the policeman. Why? Why is that? Is it my fault? Am I not allowed to have Mama pat my head? Have picture books read to me? Or eat dinner with Mama? Why not? Why not? I didn't do anything wrong. It isn't my fault, it's Mama's fault. Mama wouldn't play with me, but Sakataro did. He even read books, watched TV, and ate meals with me. He was a much, much better friend than Mama was. I'm not proud of it. But what am I supposed to do? I'm busy with work I tell you. You know that, right? It was unavoidable, there's nothing I could do. True enough, it was unavoidable. Unavoidable that you'd injure your daughter, tearing her heart apart and making her tears run with blood. In that case, there's no avoiding the same thing happening again right here, right now. Come, Maria. Enough of the excuses from a woman who calls herself a mother. Can you forgive her or not? Is she innocent or guilty? I won't forgive her. Mama's guilty. I'll make Mama meet the same fate she gave to Sakataro. Take Mama from the seam of the neck and tear her apart so we can see the cotton inside her. Maria's eyes ominously flashed blue. In that instant, invisible massive arms stuck their fingernails out and tightly grasped Rosa's entire body. As the bones all over her body made a sound like twigs being stepped on, they cracked readily and broke apart. Rosa had understood vaguely. The massive arms were probably her own arms from the time she'd torn Sakataro apart. From a stuffed animal's perspective, her arms certainly would have been this massive. So she could imagine what would happen next. The sharp nails stuck deep into the base of her neck, and she heard the skin tearing with her own ears. Then, as the two witches watched over her, Rosa's flesh was split in two, top and bottom. When Sakataro had been torn apart, bits of cotton had flown about like snowflakes. But in Rosa's case, something like black, thick tar came out, filthily flying all over the place. There wasn't even a trace of the red of blood. It was something black, filthy and thick. It was probably what a bloodless, tearless human kept inside their body. This is incredible, hideous. What filthy insides. Splendidly done, Maria. Well then, is this enough for your revenge? Can you forgive your mother or not? Innocent or guilty? I can't forgive her. Still can't forgive her. She's guilty. When Beatrice brandished her pipe cane, gold butterflies seeped up and restored Rosa's broken flesh in an instant. Feel the depths of your sin, which cannot be repaid by a single human life, and remember your own great sin. Come, try and remember. Remember the scale of your sin. Hey, Zerday, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. Hello? Is it Mama? When will you get home? I'm sorry. I'm busy with work today, so I'm staying over. Staying over for work again? Looks like work is tough for you to get again today, Mama. Yeah, sorry. I really am busy. I'll be holed up in the company the whole time. I can't even get a breath of outside air. Mama just can't finish her job quickly this time. Unless I give them a better design, I won't be given another job. That's how tough this work is. So I'll just have to take some time. Yeah, I understand. I'll be a good girl and watch over the house. So do your best at work. Finish it quickly and come back, okay? Thank you for understanding about Mama's work. I promise I'll buy a delicious cake tomorrow and take it home. I don't need cake. Instead of taking time to go to the cake store, I'd be happier if you came home that much sooner. Don't worry. I'll come back quickly, I promise. So let's have some delicious cake together. Let's drink delicious tea together. Let's read a new picture book together. Let's play with that wolves and sheep puzzle I bought the other day. Both of us together. I promise. Yeah, promise. I'll be waiting. Do your best at work, Mama. Oh, it's a lonely story, but isn't this mother-daughter love wonderful, with both looking out for the other? Do you see any problem with it, Maria? Rosa? I kept that promise, didn't I? The next evening, didn't I do as promised? Buying a cake and returning earlier than usual? That's not it. I knew. That evening, a pay-on-delivery package came from Mama. But there wasn't enough money in the wallet, so I called Mama's company to ask what to do. I was told only to call at special times. But I thought it'd be bad if the package was something important for Mama's work. So I called. Then I was told that Mama had the day off. I was told it had been decided long ago that Mama would have that day off, and that she'd gone far away to play. I knew. The whole time, I knew Mama was lying. But you know what? Sakataro scolded me, saying it wasn't true. Every day Mama was busy with work. There was no way she'd abandon Maria and play. He said that the person who told us Mama had the day off must have had some kind of mistake. That's what Sakataro said, so I believed it. I believed it. I love Mama, love her. Of course, Mama says she loves me. Loves me. Yes, me too. I love you, Maria. Rosa let out a deep sigh. Maybe she felt the weight of her words. Then she set the receiver on the bedside phone down. The dark room made the starry sky on the ground below the window stand out even more beautifully. On the table in front of the terrace was a very cold wine cooler, and the one she shared a glass with was gazing at the scene below. You didn't tell your daughter you were on vacation. I told her once, but she was so noisy I decided not to tell her anymore. It's less work that way. If you were worried about your daughter, you didn't have to force yourself to put this in your schedule, right? But that way, we'd never get our schedules to match. Didn't I say not to worry about that? The slender, middle-aged man, clad in a white robe, gave a small sigh. Rosa reacted instantly to that slight action. Come on, let's not talk about my daughter. It'd be a waste of this precious wine. I find you fascinating as both a human as a woman and a human being. But for that very reason, I feel bad about taking so much of your time that it strains your relationship with your daughter. Won't I always tell you not to worry about my relationship with my daughter? I try not to talk about her when I'm alone with you, okay? I wouldn't even have phoned from here if it weren't for the noisy drunk laughing stupidly in the lobby downstairs. Rosa-san, can't you reconsider taking sudden vacations like this in the future for your daughter's sake? Isn't it enough we only meet when our schedules match? Our schedules will never match up that way, right? And I always want to be with you. That's a child's way of loving. Loving between adults should be a little more stoic. Not being able to be with you for long periods of time makes me lonely too. However, I think we can enjoy more than enough adult loving during that limited time. So you're telling me to go be with my daughter more? Be a mother, not a woman? That's what you want too, right? You must also want to spend lots of time with your daughter. I won't run away. I'm trying to say that I think it's sad for you to sacrifice your daughter so you can prioritize your time with me. Wow, man, this makes Rosa look even worse when her boyfriend is even being reasonable. Did you get back on good terms with your wife? Looks like you've had enough of being separated from her. I don't want to talk about my wife, just like you don't want to talk about your daughter. I'm sure you think single women with children are a pain. I've never said anything of the sort before. Whenever someone finds out I have a child, they desert me. Even if I tell them not to worry about paying that child's living expenses, they all desert me. I thought you understood about my daughter, but I guess you don't like single women with children after all. That's not what I'm saying. I haven't started to dislike you, Rosa-san. I'm just trying to tell you to take better care of your daughter, something I know you wish for yourself, and I don't want you to hurt yourself by lying to her. That's all I'm saying. Liar. I've just become a burden for you, right? That's not what I'm saying. No, I know, I understand. After being abandoned so many times because of that child, I know. I can tell by your mood, yes, you're already like those other men. You don't want a woman with a child. You don't want a divorcee because that's a pain. You don't want to become a parent of a child made with another man, right? Yes, that's right, I totally get it. I once went out with a man with children, so I really get how you feel. That's why I believed I'd be able to get together with you, a person who understood about my daughter. That's right. You were always in the way. If only you didn't exist, I would have been able to grasp my happiness as a woman long ago. Because you exist, you were always in the way of my happiness. Mama, even I didn't want you to be bored. No, that's not it. I thought I might be able to build a happy family together with you. But that man disappeared right before your birth. He said he'd build a warm family with me, tricked me, and disappeared from my sight for all eternity. Only you were left. No love or memories or anything remained. Where did that man go? He probably just turned my days with him into a warm memory and met with a new love. And this time, he might have been able to create a happy family. And as for me, I have you. I can't even look for a new love. Men can go between women as they like and brag about it. But for women, for me, I have you. I had you as a stone weight, and because of you, I can't search for romance, I can't find love, and I can only live alone. No, I wasn't even allowed that. I wasn't even allowed at night to drink myself drunk all alone. Who are you? Who? You wasted my life and won't even let me have a new life. Just who are you in my life? Die. Disappear. I've hated you since the time you were born. I've hated you since the time you were in my womb. I've been doing my best to act like a good mother so I'd be accepted by the outside world. Yes, I've done my best. As I watched other women of my generation praise being single, sometimes playing with passion, or even being joined with someone in love, I was stuck being both a mother and a woman. Whoever showed appreciation for my efforts, no one admired me, no one praised me. I got what I deserved? Second-hand goods? Divorcee should die? You don't want anyone who's not a virgin? I'm the one who doesn't want anything to do with you, you damned inexperienced virgin brats. I was so desperate I probably looked like an easy woman to you. Yes, I was desperate. You probably couldn't imagine how desperate a woman like me, who's still at the age where she wants to know love, was. When I realized my time was being filled with work and caring for my child, so that I'd probably grow old and end my life still like this. Of course, I hate your real father too. We both share the blame for bringing about that catastrophe. I myself might have been persistent enough to make him run away, but the catastrophe after that was your fault. When did I ever scold you for that? Never, right? The day after one man left me, when I wanted to drink myself dead drunk, was Parents' Day at your school. When I tried to hide my tear-stained eyes with heavy makeup, the way I felt when you said something off the mark and the whole class laughed at you, is something that not only you, but probably everyone in the world couldn't understand. I hate you, loathe you, and until now I've never really loved you even once. Ugh. Maria's face was still stiff. If the words really had been blades, Maria's whole body would probably be stained red with fresh blood by now. Even after gaining the power of a witch and resolving herself to take revenge for Sakataro, she couldn't stand these curses coming out of her mother's mouth. Mama. Ugly. How ugly is a woman drowning in lust. Now you see this woman's true nature. Even I, as a witch who has explored the depths of evil, find this most difficult to watch. Maria, now is the time to part from her. Smash the ugly lump of meat that calls herself your mother. It would be pointless for your pure soul to be bound by the chains between mother and daughter any longer. With your own hand, release your own soul now. You have now gained the tooth and claw to protect yourself. Yeah, man, even Beatrice sounds reasonable by comparison now. Jesus. Ugh. Now you'll taste the pain I had to go through. Now I'll take revenge for those days of suffering. Aren't you the one who's been hurting me? I'm the one who wants revenge. I should have done that before you were born. If only you hadn't been born. Disappear. As Rosa howled in a way that could only be described by the word splat, her upper body was crushed, and in an instant became something similar to a wrung, blood-stained towel. Be crushed. I can't forgive you. Can't forgive you. What filth. That form suits you. Even though Rosa's waist and below was standing normally. Just the upper half of her body had been pinched, and that extreme contrast was bizarre. Then she fell over, but the instant she fell, her body was restored. You die. Come, Maria. Is this the limit of your anger and sadness? Now is the time for revenge. Time for the settlement of anger and sadness. Hit her, spit her out, push out all the wedges driven into your chest and fling them back at her. Ugh. Maria's howl was adorned with the ugly sound of flesh and bone being crushed at the same time. As Rosa, who had foully insulted Maria, lay spread-eagled, a neat, perfect circle was cut out of her chest and crushed as though her chest had been trampled by an invisible elephant. Her heart and her lungs and her ribs were trampled so mercilessly that they were completely indistinguishable. It might have symbolized the pain in Maria's heart up until today. So, Maria, are you satisfied now? Can you forgive your mother for her sin? Or not? Innocent or guilty? I can't forgive her. Not yet. Not yet. Mama is guilty. 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 Can't forgive her. Indeed. How could this level of punishment compare to the bitter days you suffered through? Know it, Rosa. Come. Try to remember. What form did you have? Revive in order to be killed. Be killed over and over so your sins can be purified. When Vita waved her cane, her body was restored again, and Rosa sat up coughing violently in apparent pain. And once again she spat out curses rejecting Maria. You aren't Mama. You're a witch tormenting me, and Mama, I won't forgive you just because you look like Mama. I won't forgive you. You're the witch, aren't you? Always reading creepy books and pretending to play with witches. You're the one who should disappear. Because of you, even I'm treated like a freak. Because of you. If only you hadn't been born. Don't be born. I've hated you since before you were born. Ugh. Maria screamed. Was she unable to bear her anger and sadness? Or else had she been taken over by an indescribable emotion? It was surely a cry of hopelessness. And yet it was a reality that had to be accepted. Maria knew. She knew that she was thought of as a burden. But even though she herself had known that, she didn't believe it. She'd believed her mother loved her and had done her best to positively interpret several events that could have made her doubt this, trusting and clinging to her mother's love. But she had no one except Mama. Even so, she really did like Mama and wanted to return to the days when she believed that Mama loved her. So I howled, I'll erase all of it. I won't accept it. I'll deny it. I'll deny the mother who says these things, the black witch who makes her say them, and the part of myself that can't forgive my mother. But I can't deny it. This is reality, fact, the truth, the answer. Without any mistake, this is absolute reality. Maria turned Rosa into a lump of meat over and over in the dark world that reflected her heart, rang the ugly sound of flesh and bone being torn apart, which would make anyone want to cover their ears. Each time Beatrice revived Rosa, she dragged her back to the world of endless torture, which could not be escaped from even by death. This was the true, deepest hell that the endless witch Beatrice could create. However, this world was not made endless by Beatrice's will, because every time Rosa turned into a lump of meat, she asked the same question to Maria. Are you satisfied, Maria? Can your anger forgive your mother yet? How could I forgive her? How could I forgive her? I won't forgive her. I'll teach you all of my pain, teach you much, much more. It's still not enough, not close to enough. Since before I was born, I can't get rid of the anger and sadness of being neglected for so long. I hate you. Man, Rosa talks big talk for someone that's repeatedly being pulverized. Or maybe this is just a mental interpretation of her worst traits in Maria's head. Revive, over and over again. Return to a meat lump over and over again. In various ways, she crushed, smashed, beat, and tore to bits. Flying blood spatter and flesh turned the once pitch-black world into a world with mixed red and blood. Maria's anger still hadn't calmed down. It was as though she was spitting out all the suppressed rage from the time of her birth until today. If all that became poison to her heart, then would the repeated murder of her mother purify her soul? Would even this wasteful murder save her soul at least a little bit? This endless torture might have become a slight diversion from her sad, unrewarded life. After all, it seemed that she'd finally been able to regain her smile. Learn it. You, the source of my unhappiness. Learn it. Learn that what you're feeling is nothing compared to my pain. What's wrong? Why'd you stop laughing? Try and laugh. Yeah, this is very different from Maria's diary, which paints everything in a positive light. Half of her skull collapsed. Eyeballs flew out and black cranial fluid gushed. Fragments of teeth scattered. Come on, revive. Try and laugh. Come on. Her whole chest along with her ribs turned inside out, exposing her filthy innards. All of them writhed like some kind of impure creature. Come on, revive. Can you still laugh? Rosa couldn't laugh anymore, but her face was laughing. It was filled with a twisted laugh and covered with a malice that rejected her unwanted daughter. I erased that laughing voice. Next, I'll erase that laughing face. I'll erase it. I'll crush it. I'll tear it to bits. Laugh, Try and laugh, Mama. What's wrong, Mama? Let's wake up, read a picture book, and go take a walk. Let's say we love each other, make a promise for next Sunday. Let's go shopping, let's go to the movies. And of course, you'll break that promise. Isn't it fun, Mama? Isn't it fun, Mama? I'm playing with Mama now, right? That's right. You are now playing with your mother, having fun with her. Tell me how you feel right now. I don't believe it's anger or sadness or pain. Yeah, that's right. I get it, Beatrice. I'm having a lot of fun now. I'm playing with Mama, so it's lots of fun. And even though I'm killing Mama over and over again, she can be revived with such a single bit of magic. I took care of my toys because I couldn't fix them if they broke. But if the toy could be fixed, I'd want to break it over and over again. But Sakataro won't be fixed. He can't be fixed. Because Mama who made him, Mama who gave birth to him, won't acknowledge him. I wasn't acknowledged by Mama either, was I? So the broken Maria won't be fixed either. It's fun, Mama. Since it's gotten so fun, I'm somehow starting to feel like I could forgive you. Hey, Bito, this is a very strange feeling. Why? Why am I starting to feel like I could forgive Mama? That enlightened state is only reached by witches, who have gained the power to control life and death at will. You can kill at any time. You can revive her if needed. If that's a pain, then it's alright to kill her again. Once you've learned that, you can do this at any time by simply snapping your fingers. All nonsense spoken in the world of humans becomes a chirping of insects that isn't worth listening to. You didn't begin to think about forgiving your mother because your eyes were open to your mother's love. It was because now, you stand at the entrance to the world of true witches. Welcome, Maria, to the profound and sweet world of witches. I've done it. Maria is no longer Maria. I may still be an apprentice, but I've surpassed the human world. I am now the apprentice witch of origins, Maria. There's nothing to frustrate me, nothing to make me sad. Mama, I'll forgive you. I'm sure I can forgive you. I think I'll be able to forgive you after doing just a bit more. After all, I'm a witch. Maria would probably forgive her mother eventually, after brutally murdering her countless times, graciously. Yeah, it's so sad, both of them. In the anime, this scene occurs immediately after Rosa breaks Sakataro. Like, she rips Sakataro in half, and then Maria goes ballistic, and then like, you see this dream sequence play out. There is no, like, it's kind of weird here in the visual novel how it's separated by the whole Kinzo and his summoning smack in the middle, I find, personally. Although I guess it's because, like, I guess this is Rose's purgatory, I guess that's why. And, in the anime, also, you don't see the scene where Sakataro tries to save Rosa and lead her. Like, it just goes straight into Maria, like, trying to kill her, laughing creepily, her face, like, twisting into a really, like, creepy form. It's something. Hey, Hikaru! Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm glad you've been observing. You guys should go please check out Hikaru, too, when you get a chance. Oh, apparently I spelled the command wrong. Wait, why is it not working? It says something went wrong when attempting to perform the shoutout. Okay, well, go check out Hikaru when you get a chance. I don't know why it's not working. I don't know if it's OBS or it's Twitch. I am still live, right? I am live. Okay, that's really weird. Definitely spelled it right the second time, or the third time. But please, go check them out. And yeah, this scene is really powerful. Like, it's so disturbing, but it's so powerful. And again, like, it shows, like, the weird depths of the characters in this game. Like, back in episode 2, back in episode 1, we thought that Rosa was kind of the cool aunt, and then in episode 2, it was like, oh, you're kind of a bad mom, and then she comes around and she saves Maria, and they fight against the goats, and you're like, wow, Rosa, you're so cool. And then in episode 3, she gets, like, tormented by Ava Beatrice, and then you feel bad for her. And then here we find out, like, all her misgivings again, and it's like, wow, actually, you deserved all that. Like, man. Oh, Twitch has been weird all day? Okay, good to know. Good to know. Thank you. Whoa, that last thunder was loud. Must have been pretty close, right? Looks like it. No matter how old you get, thunder still makes you jump. Adler was looking at the dark night through a crack in the curtains. Every once in a while, a pale, white lightning bolt would shine, and he seemed to be enjoying it. Oh? Look, you were so noisy, you woke Maria up. Sorry, Maria. Sorry, Badler's so freaking loud. What the hell, so it's my fault? Sorry, Maria. It's okay to go back to sleep. Good night. Maria was a bit hazy with drowsy eyes. She was probably half asleep and couldn't think straight. That's okay. I won't sleep. Nah, go ahead and sleep. You're still half asleep, aren't you? I'm not half asleep. Come on, you're totally half asleep, aren't you? Sleep, sleep. I'm not half asleep. Not half asleep. What is stupid Badler? Oh, sheesh, what are you thinking, getting a kid who's just woken up in a bad mood? I'm not half asleep. Not half asleep. I understand, Maria-chan. You aren't half asleep, so calm down. Not half asleep. Not half asleep. Maybe it was because of her delicate mental state after waking up, but Maria suddenly threw a tantrum. Badler had only been trying to tease her a bit, so he was confused by this extreme overreaction. George held her head, trying to calm her down, but Maria's tantrum wasn't going to be quelled easily. Badler and Jessica were trying to push the blame on each other, saying it's your fault too. Hey, be quiet, you two. Jessica-chan, there was still some hot water in the pot, right? Could you make some tea for her? Did you calm down, Maria-chan? It looked like her tantrum was dying down bit by bit, but she still glared at Badler, who had made fun of her with sharp eyes. Badlerkin was just kidding around. He doesn't really think you're half asleep, so calm down, okay? George noticed. Maria was staring at Badler with incredible eyes. And despite having just displayed all that emotion, she laughed in a small voice. Instead of a laugh, it seemed more like she was muttering while thinking about, or else counting, each he. As though each time she said he, something brutal would happen over and over. George felt something creepy just for an instant, but he couldn't spot the madness that peeked out of the depths of the girl's eyes for just a moment. After a short period of stunned silence on George's part, Maria stopped her bizarre, quiet laugh and pushed George's arm aside, as though telling him to let go. I'll forgive him. Really? You're such a good girl, Maria. Badler-kun, Maria-chan forgave you. Make up. Yeah, sorry for teasing you. Forgive me. Hey, Maria, let's make some cafe au lait as a sign that you've made up. I'll put in lots of sugar, so it'll be sweet. I don't need it, but I'll forgive you. Because I'm a witch. One more time, Maria laughed in a creepy, quiet voice. But it was only for a very short time, so Badler and Jessica didn't think much of it. They decided to think that it had probably only looked that way when the lightning hit her cheek with a pale white light for an instant. At that time, they could hear the sound of loud footsteps coming from the hall. It was already 10:30 late at night. Late at night is usually a time when you aren't supposed to be disturbed. Hearing footsteps like that at this time was far from calming. Then, along with a clearly ominous knock that repeated fiercely, they could hear Goda and Kumasawa's voices. They clearly told them that this was an abnormal situation. Children! Are you there? Are you there? It's Goda. It's Kumasawa. Is everyone okay? Ah, what has happened? What has happened? When George opened the door, the two of them tumbled in, sopping wet. It looked like they had dashed here from the mansion without an umbrella. What's wrong, you two? Did something happen? It was the master and Kraus-sama and everyone. Okay, so we went through quite a bit today. Oh, thank you for the stretch. Oh, yeah, that is weird. It's not appearing in my Twitch chat, but I can see the animation. Thank you. Don't forget to sit up straight and correct your posture and take a little stretch, especially since we've been going for a while. So we're finally back on track with the Rokkenjima murders, now that Kinzo has shown himself and murdered a bunch of people and summoned a bunch of demons, including a couple new ones that we haven't seen before. Chester 00 and Gap. We've also seen the, I guess we can call the end of Sakataro in Maria's world, which is why we don't see her with Sakataro in the present day, or not present day, I guess, because in the Rokkenjima timeline. And in the current present time, Ange is still making her way over to Nijima, and then she's going to go to Rokkenjima to find out more about the mysteries of Rokkenjima, and also has kind of come to terms with what she believes in terms of magic and Seven Stakes and Sakataro as well. And of course we see this scene of Maria torturing Rosa. We found out a lot more about their relationship today, all the nasty things that have been happening in full, all their dirty laundry being laid out to bear. But we're actually more than halfway through episode 4 now, so from here on I think it's more focusing on the murders. And there's a couple scenes with Ange, but we've kind of finished all the Maria flashbacks for the most part. Again, episode 4 kind of concentrates more on Ange and Maria, and then we will get to the thrilling conclusion of the questions arc as we move on to the answers arc, which I find is a lot more interesting. I mean, I like the questions arc, but the answers arc is like phenomenal. So let's just have a look at what things have been updated here. So I guess the family members haven't been killed on this screen yet because Goda and Kumasawa haven't told Badler exactly who's dead, so that's why their portraits have not been read out just yet. Here, we have some new characters, of course. We've added Gop and the Chester sisters. They've added Chester 00. Well, that's just the 7 stakes over here. Oh, they added the goats. I don't know why they added the goats, but they did. All of the goats. Even though we didn't even see them today. And Sakataro, or yeah, and also I mentioned it before, but Kinzo was on the fantasy side as well, called Goldsmith now. And Sakataro is, well, unfortunately, torn apart right now. Here is Ange's timeline, so here Sakataro is still alive. Or revived, I guess would be more accurate. And everything else is more or less the same as it was that we saw before in the previous episode at the end. But thank you so much for joining me here for another episode of Umineko. I think we can finish episode 4 in probably 2 more streams, maybe 3 if I do the tea party as a separate stream. And we're good to go. But Octopath Traveler comes out soon, so we're going to be shifting our focus to that for a little bit, which is why I'm doing the stream not on a Saturday. And tomorrow we have a collab with Cassie. We're going to be playing Monster Prom on stream, which will always be fun. Oh, hey Kieran, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for coming by. Yeah, you're just catching the tail end of it, and you missed some pretty intense scenes, so maybe probably better for your mental well-being that you didn't see that. Okay, let's have a look at Twitch and see if anyone is streaming now. We'll see if the raid command works, because apparently shoutout doesn't work and other things don't work today. Twitch might just be being weird. It looks like Drago's playing Theat Rhythm. Let's give him a visit, okay? See you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.